It's in the eyes of the drivers. It's in the hearts of the fans. It's in the air everywhere. The V8s are back. You can feel it.
I don't get nervous now. Have a breathe, have a drink.
Is there anybody out there?
Fast car, ready for a start. Route set.
Oh, massive impact. Oh, in trouble. Contact there, into the wall, and more huge nasty accident. Big trouble. It's chaos and carnage. That was a huge impact. The race has gone off. Unbelievable. Still going, and Whincup spins. Amazing. Here comes Lowndes. Whoa.
14 championship rounds, 37 races, 1 finish line.
This one is worth the championship lead. Something that Mark Skate will always remember. This is one for the young guns. They have done the double.
These drivers holding nothing back for a championship that's prized more than any other.
Tanda. He is the winner for 2007 from Toll HSV.
Thank you so much.
And it starts with a street party right here in Adelaide. There's no better way to begin the year.
Welcome to the Calypso 500.
The V8s in 08, only on 7.
Yes, this is the day that counts here at the streets of Adelaide, the day when everybody has a point to prove, because it is the final 250 Ks of the Calypso 500. Hello, I'm Matthew White. Welcome to the opening round of the V8 Supercar Championship here on 7. Sunday is payday at this event because first across the line this afternoon will be crowned the champion of the Calypso 500. It's already been a dramatic start. Ford's Jamie Whincup has struck the first blow for 2008. Good afternoon, Neil Crompton.
Matty.
Race 1, mate, had the lot.
Cracker of a race, exactly what we've come to expect from the streets of Adelaide over the years. Let's relive some of the highlights. And yesterday at the start, of course, it was an awesome jump for James Courtney, who just roared away from the field down to turn 1, dragging Garth Tander with him. The fella that suffered at the start was Jamie Whincup. Relatively clean through the first chicane, which we don't expect here on the streets of Adelaide. But quickly, Tander grabbing the ascendancy, very quick on cold tyres, down the inside at turn 9 before we had completed lap number 1. Then Courtney arguing across the bigger bumps into turn 4. If you weren't with us yesterday, it's very rough down there, and regaining the lead. Those two had a great battle. Some electrical gremlins for the Vodafone 888 car, but they handled it beautifully. We'll have more on that story shortly. Big moment, though, for the bloke who had a massive lead. James Courtney, 5-second lead, got tripped up with Jason Richards running into turn 1, damaged the car, basically put him out of business. Ditto out of business. Garth Tander, broken front right shock absorber. It did it in the braking approach to turn 1. No prior warning, put the car out. They used it as a bit of a test session. Bit of bump and grind as James Courtney tried to come back through the field. He made a move here on Greg Murphy. They did get Tander back out, as I said, and they were able to use this as a testing opportunity to try and make sure they had the car trimmed right for today. Bit of controversy here, because as Jamie Whincup climbed back through the field after the electrical problems, he was having a little push and shove here and there. Push and shove also for both the HSV dealer team cars. Rick Kelly and Paul Dumbrell getting together over at turn 11. And it put PD out of business. Whincup had great speed. Lowndes had a jammed front anti-roll bar and didn't quite have the tyre condition he needed. And once again, James Courtney in the wars there with Todd Kelly. More on that later. And here's the second part of the controversy yesterday, where Whincup slid down the outside, inside, I should say, of Winterbottom, made a little bit of contact, but went on for the win. Now, they did look at all that, but Jamie got the win away, and that was the thing that counted. It was a beautiful drive. The car behaved fantastically. Rear tyre condition was excellent. It was a great race.
Jamie Whincup absolutely pumped after that victory. Now, these results have been revised overnight. The top 9 remains the same. Whincup, Winterbottom and Lowndes on the podium. Greg Murphy now moves up into 10th position. James Courtney, as you mentioned, Cromley, got a 24-second penalty for the 2 incidents, one involving Greg Murphy, one involving Todd Kelly. So he has been pushed down to 16th position. He finished yesterday provisionally in 10th. What an eventful day for James Courtney. He's with Mark Beretta.
Well, James Courtney, what a mixed day yesterday. Led for most of the race yesterday, only to go back down the field, finish in 10th, and then overnight relegated to 16th.
Yeah, it was, you know, they started out great. We had a mega start. I let Garth go on the first lap. He was pushing pretty hard, and then my car come together, and I got back past him. We were able to pull away from him, and it was going really, really well. And then caught some lap traffic, and then Jason Richards into turn 1. I don't know what happened. He didn't see me or whatever, but as I was lapping him, he turned down into me, and as we touched it, it cut my front right tyre, so then we had to pit for an extra 15, had another pit stop, which was an extra 15 seconds. I was stationary in the pits, so our race was over from then, really.
And you got hit pretty hard by penalties overnight too.
Yeah, I was probably a little bit fired up over that incident, and I was probably a little bit, maybe the stewards thought I was a little bit too aggressive coming back through the field, so they put me back a couple of places, and but we've got good speed, and I think we can come back through today. The race is a long 78 laps, so it's a long time, and we've got really good car speed, so I think we'll be able to come back through.
All right, you've got a lot of work to do from 16th, James. Good luck today.
Thank you. A bit more exciting for you.
We love that. It's going to be exciting. If it's more exciting than yesterday, we're in for one great day of racing. 78 laps to come. Take a look at the forecast. Currently, it's 18 degrees, maximum of 24. The track, of course, will hot up. Possible shower in the air. Neil Crompton, over the years, this is the 10th anniversary of this event. Over the years, we're so used to seeing the drivers get here on Sunday completely busted and exhausted after a hot Saturday. This is different this time around.
Yeah, where's the melt? It didn't happen, and I think that's the deal here. The guys got out of the car yesterday really fresh, and that's something that we've not seen. Mind you, it still knocks you around doing 250 Ks around a street circuit, but it's cloudy and overcast, very fast track conditions, much nicer to race in. The interesting question is the shower. If we do get the shower, does it spice it up? The development series cars dealt with an early practice in the weekend, but these blokes so far have avoided it.
All right, well, after the break, we're going to take you through the V8 Supercar warm-up. They'll be on track right after this, but settle in. It's going to be a long, tough season.
Make no mistake, this is war on wheels. First up, Adelaide comes alive. One of the world's best street circuits, the Clipsal 500. Then, Sydney's Eastern Creek, a real races circuit. Round 3, this time there's a newcomer, New Zealand's Hamilton 400. From offshore in the east, we head to the west, the shifting sand of Barbagallo's Big Pond 400. Next, it's Sandown, a bitumen battlefield that's seen it all. This time it's a sprint round. Then we head north to Darwin's Hidden Valley, the Sky City Triple Crown. Round 7, the halfway mark. It's the lumpy and bumpy Queensland Raceway. Next stop, Winton, Victoria, where Ned Kelly once rode. But now Ford and Holden battle to find a chink in each other's armour. Then it's time for brothers in arms as we tear up and launch the season of endurance. The L&H 500. And of course, the biggest, baddest battlefield of all, Mount Panorama Bathurst. The Super Jeep Auto Bathurst 1000.
It's right into the wall, big time. Almost rolls the Castrol forward.
The Gold Coast Indy 300, a concrete jungle street fight. Next up, the exotic island of Bahrain. Yep, this is the V8 Desert Storm. Round 13 is at Simmons Plains for the Tasmania Challenge. And the grand finale, we say goodbye to Oran Park Raceway in Sydney. After 14 rounds of all-out assault, who will be the last man standing?
You think 2007 was big? Well, wait till you see what we're dishing up this year. From Barbagallo to Bathurst, we'll have the V8s covered from coast to coast and around the globe. V8 Extra returns with a brand new format to keep you updated on the latest supercar news. Once again, we'll bring you the Fujitsu V8 Supercars, the Carrera Cup, V8 Utes and Formula 4. And they might look small, but they're quick. New in 08 will be Aussie racing cars and the Mini Challenge Series. It all adds up to a commitment of more than 160 hours of racing. There's no need to go anywhere. All the motorsport you need.
Right here on 7.
Yes, welcome back to the Clipsal 500. We're about to warm up for race 2, Cromley, but I want you to take a look at some vision from the Formula 3 race that's been going on, because, gee, there's been some hairy moments here. This is Chris Ryan, incident that really he played no part of except for the spectacular part. He's just an innocent victim down at turn 9, flipped over. That is a very scary ride. He's fine, no problems there. Same turn, this time 4 cars get involved. In fact, make it 5. And I want you to keep your eyes on car number 42, go straight into the wall, crunch. That is Leanne Tander, Garth's wife, part, of course, of the Tander Motorsport crew. All those drivers are fine, so a little bit of rough and tumble in the Formula 3 race. If you Garth Tander, you're just about to go out to the warm-up for race 2. You would have seen that they put so much work into this system. It's a family business.
You would have rushed over to the television monitors at the back of their pit and tried to flick them off quickly so that you could keep him focused. But yes, they put a huge effort in as a family on their motor racing efforts, and really it's a 25-hour-a-day mission for Garth, the whole motor racing mission, so he'll be frustrated by that. But he's got a lot of work to do today. He needs to climb back from that difficult run yesterday where they had a broken front shock absorber in car number 1. We speculated a little bit yesterday as to what the issue was. They did intelligently use the balance of the race to just adjust the car a little to try and make sure that they had a good race car for today's event. Very similar weather conditions and track conditions, so they should get a reasonable back-to-back read between what they left yesterday and what they start with today.
Interesting day yesterday for Jamie Whincup. It could have all unravelled Campbell Little, who's now overseeing, I guess, the engineering and engine side. Yeah, you do. The head overseer here at Team Vodafone. Talk me through the problem that we had with Jamie's car yesterday with a low voltage warning first up.
Actually, end of lap 1, we had a low voltage warning, and then 0, well, we had 12 volts. We thought we had an alternator that was not charging, but it seemed to be charging about half. We just watched the voltage for about the next 20-odd laps and decided we'd have to put a battery in it. And, you know, it lived to the end of the race. So we've been set up for that. We got caught out at Pukekohe some years ago, and we've been able to do that sort of trick.
Now, sitting at home on the couch, you think, oh, well, we've had to change the battery, so undo 2 terminals, undo the clamp. You've come up with a quick change way of doing that, though, haven't you? Yeah,
we've got a bracket, basically, in the boot and a jump battery connection. It's just a strap in and plug it in, and away we go.
How did that battery fare throughout the event? Did that also start to go flat too?
Yeah, it went flat. We basically started discharging straight away, but we watched it. It was still going at the end of the race. We had a few issues. We had to shut down the cool suit to start with. Jamie didn't like that. We shut down all the sort of ancillary electrics that drew current, and next thing was the fuel pump. Didn't want to go that far.
It's a close one. Thanks, Campbell.
Cheers.
Turned off the radio, turned off the air conditioning.
Really clever risk management, though, on behalf of that team to be able to, you know, foresee that could happen again at some point down the road, organise themselves for it, and they grabbed a win out of it. They grabbed 150 points out of the fact that some years ago at Pukekohe, some little thing happened that they made a note of at the time and said, you know what, we're never going to get burnt by that again. And sometimes, believe it or not, you can have these multi-million-dollar race teams and massive structure from top to tail, and they'll trip over the same mistakes on multiple occasions, and these fellas have woken up to that one.
That's what made the win yesterday by Jamie Whincup even more remarkable, because for James Courtney it was the one that got away. For Jamie Whincup, it should have been the one that got away, and they salvaged it and pulled it back. So this is a 20-minute warm-up session. We've already done about 5 minutes of it. What's the strategy at play here? What are they looking for?
Well, initially, most of them, I believe, will just do an assessment on the changes they've made overnight. They've now had 250 kilometres to assess the car, and they'll effect a number of changes in the garage last night to try and make a better race car. You do that on a lower load of fuel, 30, 40, 50 kilos of fuel. And then at the end, they'll come in, they'll fatten the car up again on full fuel, which also gives your crew a chance to rehearse, put another set of tyres on so you're genuinely rehearsing your stops, and then send the car and get a read on it with full fuel, and then perhaps make some further adjustments again.
Guys, Steve Johnson has the Jim Beam Racing Falcon back in the garage at the moment. They picked up a vibration in a brake set they changed last night, so they're just changing that back. No big drama there.
It only takes a tiny thousandth of an inch or two, a little warp in the brake rotor, to end up with a massive amount of feedback through the brake pedal in these cars. And as a normal precaution, teams will change rotors and the brake system overnight. Oh, rusty. Russell Ingall whacks the wall on the outside of turn 8. And the Zinger replay shows quite clearly it was heavier than you want it to be. Look at that. That's big damage. Broken the Watts link at the back of the car, dislocated the rear end of the car. We've shown that to you previously with our CAD drawings from Harrop Engineering. That's the sort of thing that you can't afford in the warm-up, because that commits the team now to some solid work between now and race start.
Looks a bit dusty down there too.
Yeah, he's got off the groove, tried to carry too much pace, and hoping that that hasn't done too much damage there. And so Russell will come straight into the lane now. He knows what that's all about.
If you weren't with us yesterday, this is a good chance in the warm-up for you to take a look at the new looks for 2008. The new liveries. That's the Gel Wem Motorsport entry of James Courtney. And as you saw, Russell Ingall with the fluorescent super cheap auto. He's paired up with Paul Morris for 08.
I spoke to his team boss, Ross Stone, this morning. He was naturally disappointed by the fact that they had won well and truly by the scruff of the neck yesterday, and it got away. And they've sat down and regrouped, but he was really thrilled with the pace of the car. They've taken a lot of weight out of the SBR car and redistributed that weight so that they can put ballast where they want it. And they've opened their account this year very strongly. I haven't had a chance.
This is the same car, isn't it? This is the same car from 2007.
It is. Yeah. And they do have a new car coming. That'll be a little further into the season. But there's nothing wrong with its performance yesterday. The other car, they were also really impressed with Shane Van Gisbergen's drive.
Fox this lap, Fox this lap.
But believe it or not, when they filled up his cool suit system yesterday, they put too much ice in and it froze up. So the cool suit didn't work for the duration. And Van Gisbergen's only a young fella, as you know, and he's very fit, but they virtually lifted him out of the car yesterday, and he was very second-hand and sore last night.
It's an 18-year-old Kiwi, Shane Van Gisbergen, the youngest in the field. He has had 7 starts already in the V8 Supercars, but this is his first weekend at Adelaide. This here is Paul Dumbrell, who got tangled up with his new teammate Rick Kelly throughout race 1 and did not finish the race. And you would have seen there how they go flying over the curves at turn 1. Heavily looked at, frowned upon if you do it too many times, take too many tyres across there. But gee, it's spectacular, isn't it?
I love street circuits, and last night I spent a little bit of time just wandering around corner by corner, just looking at it, looking where the groove was, looking at the condition of the track. And there's something about street circuits that give you such a wild ride and a great thrill. Thrill for Craig Lowndes here, because he's just done a 1 minute 22.2 to be the fastest man by nearly 2.5 tenths of a second over Garth Tander. But they really require a premium for driver feel and a bit of seat of the pants as well. There's a bit of a bravery step that you have to take with these tracks and thread the carpet between the concrete.
Russell Ingall dramas you didn't need in warm-up.
No, you don't need this early. Just got a bit loose in turn 8 and just sideswiped the wall on the way out. But, you know, we're hoping there's not too much damage, but we'll have a look in a minute.
Do you know what it is yet, Russell?
No, it looks like we're definitely left front suspension, but, you know, we should be all right. But you don't need it at this stage, I can tell you.
All right, mate, all the best.
Thanks, mate.
Russell will start race 2 from 14th position. So there's some heavy work going on down at Super Cheap Auto Racing. Tasman Motorsports, now known as Sprint Gas Racing, a good 3-year deal for Greg Murphy and Jason Richards' team. As you saw at the top of the show, both of those guys involved in some incidents in race 1. Murph was a really good mover. He qualified in 20th and finished the race in 11th, but then overnight was bumped up to 10th spot as a result of James Courtney's penalties. He and Jason Richards here pairing up on the circuit. Jason will start race 2 from position 3. Greg Murphy will collect his new car probably at the non-championship round at the Australian Formula 1 Grand Prix in Melbourne, and then Jason will pick up his a little after that. So halfway through the warm-up, they're all getting the feel before the big one. Race 2, the final 250 Ks in the Clipsal 500. Hope you're enjoying it on 7. amazing how busy pit lane gets when Jennifer Hawkins turns up. Now, problems here. This is Jason Richards. This has forced a temporary halt to this warm-up session. He found himself completely out of it halfway up the main straight. Had to park it, so they've now managed to get it on the rollers and push it into the garage.
Making ugly, clunky sounds as they rolled it back in there, I noted.
Toll Holden dealer team yesterday had an interesting incident. Eric Pender, how was the feeling when the boys finally got back to the garage yesterday?
Good. Like, it's a cliche, but we're all adults. We sit down, we talk about it. There's no use throwing tantrums, yelling and screaming at everyone till we have all the facts. So I preferred to get everyone. We just got the guys into the trailer, found out the facts, worked out between us what went wrong, and put into plans and processes so it won't happen again.
Well, you certainly bounced back this morning. You bounced back this morning as a pretty strong team. We've got some ripper times on the board.
So I can't.
We'll wait until all these go past. I know you've got some radio chat. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah. I'm not surprised he can't hear you. He looks like Darth Vader, doesn't he?
And you may be familiar with Eric having been the engineer in the ears of Rick Kelly over the years. Eric is a ripper bloke.
Yep.
He's a very intelligent young engineer, and they've stepped him up into the team manager's role. And what an intelligent way to describe what happened. I mean, there's no hiding it. Two blokes in the same team running into each other, and we closed yesterday saying, oh, that's not good, and that makes for an ugly debrief. Eric's handled it. He's confronted it. He's got the two of them together. Here it is. Bang. I mean, that would have made them all hang their heads in the garage. How on earth did that unfold? And I've spoken to Eric a couple of times this weekend. He's absolutely wrapped with the pace and progression of Paul Dumbrell in the Autobahn car. We know that Rick is a young champion. He's got the runs on the board. I reckon Eric is going to do a great job in that role down there, and those blokes are going to be a factor this year for sure. And, you know, they need to climb over what happened yesterday, but they're well on the way to doing that.
In the end, it was a pretty good performance from this man, Rick Kelly. He qualified 12th. He just went quietly, aside from that one, which put him on the front pages, but he just went quietly about his business yesterday. He was just very calm, composed, under the radar, did everything right, got into a tangle there and fought back.
Well, Jason Richards, it's turning into a pretty eventful weekend for you. What happened now?
Seemed to lost drive. We're not too sure of the diff tail shaft gearbox, but I just went to pluck third gear coming onto the straight, and it's made a horrible noise, and you know, all the Ford go stop, so not an ideal start to a Sunday. We've got a lot of changes we needed to make the car a bit faster.
Now, Jason, just while we've got you, take us back to yesterday and your moment with James Courtney. What happened there?
I think you best ask James what happened there. Like, he's obviously a very fast car, and there's no way anybody's going to pass into turn one up the inside like that. And you know, I saw him sort of duck out. I lost my wing mirror anyway, and look, it sounds like it's a broken tail shaft that we're hearing in the background. And I've just turned in, and he's just fired into my back door, and you know, pretty dangerous move, I thought, for a guy leading the race.
All right, mate, I hope the luck picks up.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Jason went to grab a gear. He's using the H-pattern gearbox. There is the sequential gearbox has been introduced for 2008. We've got 28 starters, of course, and this is how it breaks down. 15 are going the new sequential, 13 are staying with the H-pattern.
For the moment, and they're able to go one way or the other according to their whim. And, oh, Stephen Richards off the road in the wall and in the kitty litter in the process, and that's down at turn 11.
He's gone in pretty deep, too. It's exactly the same spot where just earlier we were showing you the replay of Rick Kelly's incident yesterday.
21.9 for Rico, and a red flag now, so the session will stop. So that's going to knock the wind out of this session. I'm not sure that they'll recover from here to be able to continue to run the warm-up. The warm-up we only see for either both the Enduros at Phillip Island and at Bathurst, or here at Clipsal. It's been obliterated from the sprint races.
You were quickest until that lap. Rick Kelly went a tenth quicker. Oh, 300th actually. Have a drink, mate. Have a drink.
McConville's quick again, Matthew, up into fourth. They had to do an engine change on that car overnight. It dropped a cylinder yesterday. And I spoke to Neil Burns from Walkinshaw Performance, who provide the engines, obviously, for that car. And they're a bit frustrated by having to go through that process when they had a quick car yesterday. That's very good speed.
Definitely got better power now.
Bit of an airbox fire yesterday for Paul Morris. Here's the replay. And very awkward-looking manoeuvre there. Like, for some reason, Richo wasn't able to get the car to turn left at all. So he's either arrived with way too much pace, and for a fellow with that level of experience, it's probably unlikely, or something's broken. That might be a more logical reason, but won't speculate too widely because we'll find out soon enough.
Well, the timesheet has Rick Kelly on top, 121.9. The others are into the 122s, all the way down to about 17th position. Jamie Whincup second. The man we're taking a look at, Garth Tander, the 5th best time, 122.28.
Fellow that's just on the right there, Bryce Seals, been around for a long time, was working in the US in international motorsport for a long time, and he was at PWR in recent years, and he swung across to HRT this season.
Down here at FPR, boys, with Tim Edwards. Tim, I'll do a Pauline Hanson. Please explain.
Well, Stephen realised he wasn't going to make the corner, so rather than go straight into the tyres, he just turned the other way and went into the gravel. So no problem with the car. He just was going a bit quick and took avoiding action.
So nothing's actually broken?
No, car's fine.
Thanks, Tim.
That's good news. The Zinger replay looking back up towards turn 11. Yeah, he just pretty much parked it, didn't he?
Yeah, so that explains that. And smart decision in the end, because if you keep on pressing on round the corner, you can eventually make pretty heavy contact with that wall. You've got a fair bit of pace on the approach into there. Tim Edwards is a member of the V8 Supercar board, apart from running Ford Performance Racing, which is a big mission in itself. And here's Rick Kelly, who at the moment is at the top of the charts, 1 minute 21.9.
Well, guys, there's a real race going on in the Supercheap Auto Garage at the moment to get Russell Ingall's car right. Broken front suspension, broken rear suspension, broken Watts linkage. They've got time, but they think they'll just make it. Fingers crossed for Supercheap Auto.
Yeah, that's a big job for those fellas. Great pictures here as we look under the back of it. They'll take the rear end out of the car, the whole rear axle and diff assembly, and hopefully the actual triangular Watts link bracket itself is not bent on the body. Otherwise, that's going to take a fair bit of re-engineering to get it right. Arch McMurray just under the bonnet at the front there. Arch has been looking under the bonnets of race cars for a long time. And you can see all the work going on to replace the top and bottom wishbones, steering arm, shock absorber, spring. They'll have their work cut out. That's a big job. I mean, you've got to get all the dead stuff off it, and then you've got to get all the new stuff on, and then you've got to realign the whole car, and that's an intricate process to get one of these cars. What's described as corner weighted and wheel aligned is actually quite a time-consuming job.
Will Davison, another solid start for Jim Beam Racing. Got into a pattern a bit towards the end of 2007, Neil, when the teammates would end up pretty much pairing off. They were so level pegging. You know, if you're looking around on the circuit for Will, you normally find him right near Stephen. That's how it finished yesterday. Stephen Johnson finished 6th, Will 7th.
Down here with Rick Kelly. Rick, how was the car?
Yeah, it's quite good. We stopped the session a little bit early. I don't want to put too many laps on our race tyres. We had a good tyre strategy yesterday which worked, but didn't quite have the car under us as far as tyre durability. So we fixed those dramas. The car's obviously reasonably quick. We just need to do a couple of small tweaks and we should be in pretty good nick.
It was disappointing yesterday. We spoke to Eric Pender earlier about the incident, and then just after I spoke to him, we played the replay. He was looking at that and thought it had happened again in the warm-up. We're giving him a heart attack.
No, it won't happen again. To be honest, I'm pretty impressed with the way that our new team's dealt with that situation, and everyone's getting along really well and doing a great job, so pretty excited about today's race.
Good luck.
Thank you.
25-year-old back in car number 15. He'll be hungry to get that title back. The Zinger replay showing Will Davison just taking the whole car over the curb and over to the left-hand side of the track.
And just think about the kind of loads that are going through the car. They're not like race cars, V8 Supercars. Got plenty of fuel on them, and the driver near enough to 1.5 tons, and you fly it through the air there at a couple of 100 kilometres an hour and it bounces away. And you know, in some cases they're doing that for a couple of hours and that all stands up at the end. Pretty fancy engineering.
Team BOC has undergone some pretty big changes in the off-season. They've switched from Ford to Holden. Cam McConville has joined the squad with Andrew Jones, and Cam also picked up the WOW sponsorship on that car after the demise of the WPS Racing Group out of V8 Supercars. So a fresh new look for a brand new season at Team BOC. Rick Kelly, the best in the warm-up this morning, 121.90. But now the focus turns to race 2, 78 laps, 250 Ks still to come. A big, big day. The V8 Utes will be right up next. And it's a big year of 7 Sport. We'll take a break.
Victoria's here. It was the most famous victory imaginable. That might be a golden moment, a little bit of history. How sweet it is. Racing now.
In front, efficiently ugly danger. Purple Moon in front. Efficient is getting there. Efficient getting the Purple Moon. Efficient is going to win the cup. Half a length for Purple Moon.
It's as good as it gets.
Let me tell you, you are looking at a converted man. Koshy is officially a petrol ahead. We can't get him out of pit lane. And he's rounded up some troops too for Sunrise. Throughout the season, James Courtney will be joining the Sunrise family for some special reports, not just on V8 Supercars. We're going to cut James loose, as you know that he's got a lot of interests, including dancing, of course, and Craig Lowndes will also be reporting for 7 News, so we've got it covered absolutely everywhere. Our first race of today belongs to the V8 Utes, and it's great to be able to welcome to the broadcast Jack Perkins in commentary. He's alongside Aaron Noonan.
Thank you, Matty. We're getting ready for the third and final race in the opening round of the Yokohama V8 Utes Series. A full field of cars setting off on the warm-up lap, but there's been plenty of action. But I guess the big thing this weekend, Jack, the debut of the new VE, and it's won both races so far. Let's take a look at the highlights. Race 1, this was on the warm-up lap, could you believe it? And then we got started. Poleman Grant Johnson, last year's V8 Utes Series champion, took the lead into the centre chicane, but the weather, it was a little bit of a worry. So they all managed to start this race in dry conditions with wipers working hard. But then the first chicane, usually everyone made it through okay. Not quite the case for Wayne Lamont. He got into drama. Colin Corkery, the young Kiwi, looped the Wollongong performance car, and the rookie, Michael Barch, ended up in the wall. But as always, it was a typical Ute race. There was action going on left, right and centre.
Never a shortage of action, is there?
Never, ever, never, ever. Grant Johnson won the race. Colin Corkery in race 2 got off to a bad start. Now, he's been given a 30-second penalty for that contact with Nandy Kiss. Reece Hansford here, a familiar name, making his debut in the championship. And the boys really lost the plot later on the final lap. But VE came home with another win. Gary McDonald back in the category this weekend, making it 2 wins for the brand new Holden. But we're on the warm-up lap, and this race, Jack, it's a grid aggregate from the first 2 races so far this weekend.
Yeah, it's good format, the Ute racing, and you know, the VE Commodore, it's a great looking Ute, and to have Grant Johnson on pole for this race, it should be exciting.
A lot of Fords behind him. Leighton Cranbrook, George Badiki and Craig Dontis, all Ford bound. Craig Dontis, in fact, the Sonak's Best Presented Car Award this weekend. Matt Kingsley from the Gold Coast, he's going to start back there in position 6. That's the older model Holden. There's 6 new VEs here this weekend, a couple more to come on stream at the next round at Eastern Creek. And Colin Corkery, a young Kiwi, starting position 13. He can do some things from there.
Yeah, he's a good driver, Colin, and he's moving through the ranks and he's enjoying his Ute racing.
once upon a time, you would have driven a ute, would you not, on the farm?
Yeah, I've driven many good Aussie utes, and this is just a great rivalry. Holden versus Ford in good Aussie utes and good bit of fun racing.
Look at this field. They just keep on coming through. Michael Barch at the back of the field after a pretty dramatic weekend in one of 3 Wollongong Performance Racing machines. Ben Cavich and Reece Hansford down towards the back. Reece didn't finish yesterday after that run-off through the chicane that we saw in the highlights. But this ute racing, now is the time to get going. It's the final race, the first round, but I think there's some guys out there with those new cars that they just don't want to bend them.
Yeah, I'd say the guys with the new VEs are a bit tame to not want to bend their cars, but it's always a race that gets the crowd on the end of the feet. There's always a bit of action, a bit of crashing and bashing, and just good car racing. That's what the spectators come to watch.
Now, Jack Elsgood yesterday, he's the runner-up in this class the last few years. He set a new lap record, and that's been a familiar thread throughout a lot of the support races this weekend. Can we put that down to anything in particular?
Yeah, I think the track's definitely faster this year. They've resurfaced elements of the circuit, and it's definitely a lot faster this season.
Right. Clear the grid. The Utes are on there. They're still coming around the final turn at turn 14. A full field of 31. The field size is capped at 32. 16 Holdens, 16 Fords. You don't get better parity than that.
Exactly, and you know the class is very formulated so that there's no advantage to have either a Ford or the Holden. So this should be a great race.
Grant Johnson, the defending champ from Western Australia in the Grow Fruit Juices Commodore, the new VE. He starts from pole alongside Leighton Cranbrook, who was really strong here last year. So it's Holden, Ford front row, Ford second row, George Badiki and Craig Dontis. Let's get race 3 started. An 8-lap distance on the Adelaide Clipsal Street circuit and down to this first chicane. This is usually where it's interesting.
This will be interesting. First corner, they look like they're going through it. Not too bad at the moment.
3 wide, across through the grass, out through the sand. There's lots of track there. They may as well use it, but I think Glenn McNally in the background there ended up being touched. But Johnson is the leader down at turn 4.
Yeah, it's quite clean up the front there. Definitely one of the cars up the back may have got a little bit of a tap, but they look like they all got through there okay.
Here's Leighton Cranbrook going for the lead up the inside of Grant Johnson. He makes the move, stick at turn 6, and George Badiki trying to slip up the inside and follow him through. So Grant Johnson here, low ranger for Holden, a bit like Lee Holdsworth yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great move from Cranbrook. That's a hard spot to pass from, and he's obviously got good car speed, and he's able to pass him.
The run down to the Dunlop sweeper. Against the wall, and Johnson all on the inside, down to the hairpin. Goodbye, gone.
Yeah, he's gone the passing move, and he's just outbraked himself there, and he's ran out of road, and he's going to have to settle back in well down the field. But he's in the sweeper, just one of the best corners in Australia. That's excellent viewing through there.
Giannis Derham's had a drama there in the background with one of the new Kanga Lotus Commodores there. He is rejoining as well. It's only lap 1 of 8 and the boys have lost the plot already.
Yeah, it's going to be an excellent race. They're really out there having a good go, and there's been a couple of lead changes, so it's a great race.
Another move here. This is Ryle Harris up the inside of Matt Kingsley. Craig Dontis, the Roaring Lion Energy Drinks Ford, is right in the mix here. But at the end of lap 1, Cranbrook leads the way from George Badiki. Gary McDonald, the race 2 winner, sitting there in 3rd spot from Ryle Harris. Matt Kingsley's next through, but he's arguing over the chicane, and Craig Dontis is in the wall. That is nasty.
That's a nasty crash. Unfortunately, 2 cars going through turn 1 never really works out, but hopefully all's okay. There's a lot of damage and debris there. A lot of the drivers taking a lot of caution now.
Plenty of debris at the centre chicane. The field is slowed. Safety car has been called naturally. Matt Kingsley's car to the right of screen there in the outside wall. There's the Commodore, number 50. Craig Dontis's Ford is on the other side of the circuit. There it is, the Roaring Lion Falcon. They were arguing over positions 5 and 6 on the run into the centre chicane. So we've completed just 1 lap in race 3 for the Yokohama V8 Utes. The safety car has been called, and we've got some seriously damaged cars.
It looks like one of the drivers is out of the car. He's just going over to check to see if everything's okay. And I'd say, yeah, the 2 cars not going through turn 1, that just didn't give each other enough room, really.
A lot of debris through the chicane. Let's take a look at the replay, Jack.
Yeah, just got a bit out of shape over the curve, trying to go too wide through turn one. It's not the best option, but, you know, the guys, you know, try and give each other racing room, and they just had a little bit of a touch, and the cars have got unsettled over the curve.
That was Jack Elsgood. That is simply a case, wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, poor Jack Elsgood had nowhere to go. The front two were having their own little race, and unfortunately it's got all wrong, and they've blocked the track for him, but that's racing as it's known.
It almost looked like, look, that's nasty. Kingsley's car fired across the road, but the contact with Dontas originally in the chicane, Dontas's car was basically in the air when they collided.
Yeah, the size of the curbs there, the car gets quite airborne over them, and it looks like the car's just got a little bit out of shape, and they've touched, which has unsettled them as they landed, and unfortunately they've had a fairly healthy crash there.
The Yokohama replay again. There's the first touch, a second touch there. Dontas is on the brakes to try to avoid it all. There's another car here. Kim Jane ploughs in. That's Colin Corkery, who ends up underneath the tree out of our view, but he was also involved in that incident in the number 66 car from Wollongong Performance Racing, the supercharged batteries-backed Ford Falcon. And that is the site of a lot of damage down at the centre chicane. Already some of the marshals have been out there to clean away a lot of that debris that's been left. But Leighton Cranbrook is the leader under safety car conditions here on the streets of Adelaide. George Madiki sits in second spot from Gary McDonald. Ryle Harris is in position 4. Kim Jane is 5th. Grant Johnson, the champ, is way back. He's position 6 in this first round of the championship. Shannon Sidebottom, position 7. Andrew Fisher, Justin Van Twest and Steve Robinson round out the top 10 in race 3 of the Yokohama V8 Utes. Back on the streets of Adelaide at the Clipsal 500, the grandstand very, very full. The Yokohama V8 Ute Series, the third and final race for the weekend, has been red flagged after an incident down at the centre chicane. The final race of the weekend, let's take a look at some of the highlights. Grant Johnson, the pole sitter, the defending champ, led away early in the brand new Grove Fruit Juices Holden Commodore. Started on the front row along with Leighton Cranbrook. The run to the first corner was always busy. Glenn McNally, the Western Australian in the white ute, there he is, just getting a little bit sideways. Managed to straighten it up and get running again. Cranbrook took the lead, but Johnson tried to steal it back at turn 9, but outbraked himself and went in just a little bit too deeply and was forced to rejoin halfway down the pack. Now, this is the drama that has stopped the race. Contact between Craig Dontas and Matt Kingsley. Jack Elsgood car, his car was involved there too. Here's another angle on the Yokohama replay. A heavy, heavy incident with 4 or 5 V8 Utes involved at the centre chicane. We'll keep you updated during the course of the day on the situation. But some 4 or 5 cars involved. The race was red flagged and stopped after 2 laps. That was the view on board with Jack Elsgood. Round 2, the next time the Yokohama V8 Ute Series is on track. Eastern Creek Raceway in Sydney, March 7 to 9.
Later today, we'll bring you the final leg of the Clipsal 500. 250 Ks to the checkered flag. Who will be the last man standing? It's the Clipsal 500, only on 7.
And you could be in the running to win either a Ford GT FPV or a Holden Club Sport HSV. Plus, there's a Ford or Holden supporters pack to be won each round. Be watching the next V8 Supercars round at Eastern Creek to find out how you can be in the running for this supercharged prize thanks to KFC. You can't beat that taste.
Yeah, the KFC Zinger hot moments. Make sure you're watching round 2 at Eastern Creek because that's when we start to get going with some great memories. Those prizes, $70,000 each plus. Now, being the first round of the season, there's always a lot of formalities, isn't there, Cromley? So as a driver, you've done the warm-up, you've had the download and discussion with your team. But now all of a sudden, you've got to start scheduling in photos, all these kind of things. How much does it upset the rhythm?
Well, this is one of the busiest weeks of the year because it's pre-season. There are so many functions, and it's kind of weird because stuck right in the middle of the race meeting is this driver photo that they all attend, and they're in the process of doing that at the moment. It's kind of weird because at any given moment, you walk in and out of garages and there's various levels of warfare unfolding, and then suddenly everyone comes together. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Sorry that we had a punch-up yesterday. It's that sort of vibe. But look, there is a good spirit amongst the boys. But when they get out on the racetrack, between when the lights flick and when the checkered flag drops, there is some serious stuff going on. But generally speaking, they all tolerate each other. But it's an amazing event. All the things that attach to the Clipsal 500 are enormous. It's a hugely busy weekend, and you could be forgiven for thinking at some stages that you don't actually drive the car, you just talk about driving the car.
So that is the class of 2008. 28 drivers. They'll be loving these conditions here. Nice and overcast, fairly cool, and certainly not the plus 30s that we get used to at the Clipsal 500. Very, very big crowds yet again. The record crowd set here over the 4 days in 2007 was 276,000 people. And they have come en masse again. There's Stephen Richards, Ford Performance Racing. He will start race 2 from inside the top 5. All our drivers together, all of their teammates, by the way, lined up along pit lane as well. Just shows you that this is a reflection of a team sport. All the engineers, all the mechanics, everybody that makes up a race team. Todd Kelly settling into his new home at Jack Daniels Racing.
Please pay attention as we cross.
And right now here at Clipsal, we're going to pause for the Chief Executive of the South Australian Motorsport Board, Mr. Andrew Daniels.
Ladies and gentlemen, no doubt you are all aware that in yesterday's Fujitsu V8 Supercar race, we had an extremely serious accident involving driver Ashley Cooper. Ashley is currently in the Royal Adelaide Hospital fighting for his life. I would like us all, please, to pause for a moment, and I would like to welcome the V8 Supercar Series chaplain, Gary Coleman, to lead us all in a prayer for Ashley on behalf of the Clipsal 500, the V8 Supercar Series family, and all here today. Gary Coleman.
Thank you, Andrew. Folks, would you all stand with me together as we have a prayer? We are a sporting family. Today we are the V8 Supercar family. We cheer and boo each other, we envy each other, we hurt with each other. And as we pray this moment, gracious Father, we're always thankful for the ability to enjoy our sport. We're thankful for friendships and allegiances forged. And when a friendship is shaken, we all hurt. We want to ask for our development series driver, Ashley Cooper, for his wife, his mum and dad, his sisters and his brother, for courage and strength in this time of anguish and strain. Be to them the inner faith and anchor that they need right now. Lord, help us to value each other, to cherish the day and respect the life you've given to us. We also humbly ask for today's racing for refreshment for all drivers and marshals and officials, for alertness in all decisions made on and off the track, and for safety as we head home. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
If I wasn't a race car driver, I'd love to be a fighter pilot just because I'd love to fly an F-18 for a living. It'd be fantastic. My wife and myself both drive the family car, but I get sick of her driving pretty quick, so mainly myself. Just plain spaghetti with butter on it and chips, no veggies. I am definitely a mess maker. Poor old wife does double the work. If I was a movie star, I reckon I'd be Jackie Chan. I love how fit he is and how good he moves. It's not car racing, it's dirt bike riding or flying around in a plane. I just love machinery. Favourite holiday destination would have to be the family farm. My favourite sport would probably be ski racing, powerboat racing or dirt bike racing. can't do anything. My all-time hero would be Ayrton Senna. My prized possession would probably be my family, 2 little kids. Something I can't live without would probably be my wife, mainly because of the messy thing again.
Todd Kelly there playing it very smart, staying on the right side of his wife, Christy. He's got 2 young children, Mason and Alex. A very busy time for the toddler. A lot of people have been asking me, when is this going to hit the shelves? It's the V8 yearbook for 2007. A smash hit over the last couple of years. It's going to be in newsagents next Wednesday, so March the 5th. The soft cover version is $20. All the rounds from 07. Some wonderful pictures and all the statistics as well. So make sure you watch out for it because they are very, very popular. Our next race on the program is the Carrera Cup, and this year they've got a new man watching over their every move. Former V8 Supercar driver Mark Larkham is the driving standards observer for this category. He's the policeman for the Porsches. Aaron Noonan's got the story.
Well, there's a heap of changes in Carrera Cup for season 2008 in both drivers and in terms of teams. But the best way to quantify it is that the top 4 drivers in last year's championship, there's only one of them, Craig Baird, who's back in 2008. He's going to drive for a 3-car Peter Fitzgerald operation, and multi-car teams are all the rage. James Moffat makes a step from Formula 4 to join a 4-car Sonic Attack, while David Wall pairs up with Jim Richards in what is now an all-new Shannon's Back Porsche. But it's not just new faces in the race cars, it's also outside the circuit as well. Mark Larkham is going to look after this posse of Porsches.
I got to say, I feel a little alien. I've only ever been up in here when I've been in trouble, and actually to be on the other side of the fence is a little odd. The challenges here are this category has become quite competitive at the top end, and the cars are all the same, so you can end up with some incidents there. And I guess there's another championship within the championship for guys over 30 that I think you're going to see some battles there and probably a little more drama.
Are you paying any special attention, I guess, to the guys who are new to Carrera Cup this year from open wheeler racing, for example?
Generally speaking, they're the cleanest sort of guys. It's more it's anyone that's come under the tutorage of some of these tin top guys that are probably more of a problem.
Yeah, I don't think he's expecting an easy year, but Larko absolutely loves it. Loves being around a racetrack, and he'll be watching very closely this race. Here's our commentators for this one. Marcus Marshall is in the booth alongside Aaron Noonan.
He's been doing some work already this weekend, Mark Larkham. Craig Baird will start from pole. This is the 3rd and final race for Carrera Cup this weekend. David Russell alongside on the front row of the grid. We have a green flag at the back. Row 2 is the race 1 winner, Dean Fiore, who was given that race after a pass by Craig Baird under yellow flags. Let's go racing in race 3. And David Russell, the Boom Logistics Sharon Porsche, he's awesome off the start. And once again, Marshall, he is flying through there.
Yeah, look, David Russell typically is a great starter, and he's done it today. And Pedro's usually one of the best starters too, but David's off to a good start.
Have a look at this, Marcus, down in the pack. Bryce Washington trying to push his way through in the Adrad Porsche. Had a great start to the weekend, scored his first ever pole position, but it's been all downhill from there. David Wall, here he is, 3rd place in the Jim Richards Porsche with Shannon's backing this season. Dean Fiore just in behind him. Then James Moffat in the car that won last year's championship at the hands of David Reynolds.
Yeah, very strong team, Sonic Motor Racing, do a great job, and look, Bryce will be disappointed with his start on the race 1, but he's very fast.
Look at them squirming through the Dunlop sweeper on the control. Michelin slick tyre. Turn 9 is a place for a move, and Aaron Karate down the inside of Rodney Jane, but Peter Hill gets it wrong in the Boost Mobile Greg Murphy racing car, and they're running 2 cars this year. Young Jono Lester from New Zealand has joined one of the rookies in Carrera Cup this season, but this opening lap when the tyres are cold, this is the place where you can make a break.
Yeah, this is the time to make a move, and this is Bryce Washington making a move on his teammate here.
Oh, Rodney Jane out in the grass.
And yeah, Bryce, great move there, and he's obviously going to, he's got the pace, and we've got another move here from Karate.
Up the inside, that's Barton Moore in the Opus Prime Porsche, which is one of 3 cars from Peter Fitzgerald's team. still learning about the GT3 Cup Porsche is Barton, a former test driver for the A1 Team Australia squad and raced successfully in the National Series in the British Formula 3 open wheeler category. But the Bob J Team Arts cars here with Moffat and Rodney Jane. Speaking to Michael Ritter during the week, he's very happy with how James Moffat's handling the situation, but like any race driver, James is not happy. He wants to be even further up the front. Here's the replay with Barton Moore.
Yeah,
that was James Moffat out wide over the curb.
He just made a slight mistake there, ran wide, and you get a terrible exit, and so Barton sort of gained out of that.
Here's our leaders: David Russell, Craig Baird, David Wall, Dean Fiore, who was the fastest car on the circuit at the moment. But David Russell hasn't won in Carrera Cup, is looking for a breakthrough weekend, and I guess there's a lot of young guys like him who have the perfect chance to step up here. You're not in the field. Alex Davison is going to be racing in Germany this year, in Europe as well. And of course, Jim Richards no longer racing Carrera Cup. David Reynolds is gone. It's a perfect chance to step up and be counted, and that's one way to step up. Have a look at them through the centre chicane.
Yeah, look, Dave's been around a little while now in Porsches, and you should know how to do it by now. He hasn't done too much of leading races, but this is how you learn. You need to be out in front and sort of take the lead and hold it from there.
David Wall, fastest man on the circuit, 1 minute 24.42. We're on board in the third placed car. I could listen to this car just about all day. Fantastic sounding, 400 horsepower Porsche engine.
Yeah, geez, I'm getting excited sitting here myself. They're a fantastic sounding car, and the sequential gearbox as well, and Dave's doing a fantastic job. He's obviously the quickest guy out there at the moment.
Oh, replay, Grant Sherrin in the Sherrin Rentals Porsche. Spins around now. He's one of two sets of brothers in this field. He's up against his own brother Ian, and of course James and Theo Konduras also in the field this weekend. But that's a mistake down at turn 14. Was running pretty well there, had a few behind him, but there goes his brother in the other Sherrin car. But David Russell sprinting away at the front. The margin to Baird last time around, 0.7 of a second. And look at these cars over those bumps in a turn 4.
Yeah, look, it's got bumpier this year. It's a very difficult place, and you have to be on the limit there every time. And basically, when the last bounce stops and the car settles, you turn it in and hope for the best just about every lap.
Here's Rodney Jane. For so many years, he's dominated the Pilatus Challenge for drivers over the age of 30 years. He's running in the outright class this year. He's 9th overall. And closing in here on Barton Moore, who is having his first start in a Carrera Cup car. Very used to seeing him in an open wheeler here, but Rodney Jane just having a look towards the sweeper, but he can set up a good run from here to turn 9.
Yeah, look, it's obviously, it's sequential gearbox. You can't skip from one gear to the next. So basically, they're going from 6th to 2nd gear there, and you hear Barton got through nicely, but 2nd gear there, he didn't quite match the revs to the end to the road speed, and you hear a little a lock-up from the rear of the car, and then upsets the car on entry to the corner. So you need to get that spot on and smooth, and it makes the whole transition to the corner nice.
New fastest lap, Craig Baird, 1 minute 23.9. So the Gold Coast-based Kiwi, who will team up with the Holden Racing team later on in the season for the V8 Enduros. He and Glenn Seaton have signed up to join Mark Scaife and Garth Tander. He's a busy man. He's chasing David Russell here, who's responded, who's fast to the first split on this lap 5 of 12. So it's all about dealing with the pressure for young drivers like David Russell.
Yeah, definitely. And this is the time now when the tyre pressures are up, everything's on. This is where these laps, this lap and the next one, where you'll see lap records being broken maybe today.
You can see how that curve on the exit of the hairpin can really unsettle one of these stiffly sprung GT3 Cup cars.
Yeah, definitely on the...
Oh, debris there too.
Very difficult corner through there. It wants to throw you out onto the grass, and it's really, really difficult. You have to ride the curb a little there, and very difficult to get right.
Here's a replay at turn 9. Jono Lester, Andrew Moffat, and also James Kanduras fighting for 15th, 16th and 17th, and I think that is where our debris has come from.
My old boss won't be very happy with that. I can tell you, he's a bean counter and he counts every single bit of money.
Peter Fitzgerald running 3 cars. His main man, Craig Baird, is applying the pressure. 123.8 last time around. David Russell, 123.9. So it's a case of hundreds of seconds, and it ebbs and flows. These cars all built identically by the Porsche Motorsport factory in Germany, and very small setup changes that the drivers can make.
Yeah, look, it's all down to tyre pressures and slight little bit of engineering with different parts on the car you can change, but really there's nothing at all. It's just about you and the car and getting your head right and absolutely driving the wheels off it in these cars.
Now, even if they hold these positions, Craig Baird has enough points up his sleeve over the weekend to take the round and be the championship leader at the end of this first weekend. That's entirely an inappropriate spot there in the middle of the corner.
Well, yeah, definitely. But it's very close on points here, isn't it? Baird and Russell, and obviously David Wall is closest, looking for it, and Fiore's on 150 there, so they're looking like those three will be on the podium.
Dean Fiore driving for the Sonic team again. There's his teammate Bryce Washington, who runs position 5. Aaron Karate is the next through in 6. We're heading out onto lap 7 in the final race of Carrera Cup this weekend. James Moffat, the leading rookie, in position 7, and rounding out the top 10. Barton Moore, Rodney Jane and Rodney Forbes. Back on the streets of Adelaide, it's Carrera Cup at the Clipsal 500. And the all-one-make Porsche category is turning it on. Don't forget, race 2, the Clipsal 500's coming up. Can Jamie Whincup finish the job for Team Vodafone? We're going to find out later in the day. The question at the moment is, can David Russell hang on from the former Carrera Cup champion, Craig Baird, through the chicane, using lots of curbs, launching these cars right through there?
See him using all the track there and more, and these guys are absolutely on the limit, using all the curb, all the exit room, and that's what you need to do to get the most out of these cars.
You can see there David Russell a little bit sideways at the exit of turn 5.
This will come into where everyone's got their tyre pressure set now. The last sort of 5 laps, you know, David Russell could have set his car up to come on early and maybe not so good at the end of the race. Beardo much better at the end of the race, we'll see now.
The long run to the sweeper. Now hard on the brakes into turn 9 at the hairpin, and the top 4 are really the class of the field. They've sprinted clear of Bryce Washington, who has moved in the off-season with his car from Paul Cruikshank Racing to be run by the Sonic team. He used to drive for that team back in his Formula 4 days here, but really impressive job from David Russell here. He's had a couple of seasons in Carrera Cup. He did a lot of production car racing, spent some time in the V8 Supercar Development Series, but he's really got his development program working nicely here, and no better man to be leading than Craig Baird, because if he can withstand the pressure from Baird, he can withstand it from anyone in 2008.
Yeah, that's right. Look, he needs to win a race, and that'll really lift him, and he hasn't had that chance to do that yet in Carrera Cup, and sometimes that's what just takes people to lift them mentally.
You can hear the cars porpoising over the bumps down at turn 4, but it's go time for Craig Baird in the Peter Fitzgerald Porsche. Of course, drove last year for the VIP Pet Foods team. This is the same car, in fact. It's just moved south from the Gold Coast down to Peter Fitzgerald's workshop in Melbourne, and here is the chasing David Wall.
Yeah, David's doing a fantastic job driving for Jim Richards this year, and Beardo's, he's fairly close there to David Russell, and I tell you, you don't want to leave a gap at all. That bloke will just shove his nose in there and make the move.
You can hear there the car right up on the rev limiter. on the braking area in turn 9.
Yeah, look, the difference between we were on board with Barton Moore before and he wasn't quite on the rev limiter down there. That's just the difference to these guys, the speed they're carrying through turn 8. And they're absolutely at the maximum revs, no more speed left in the car.
The run back through the Parklands. We're on lap 9 of 12, so still plenty of time for Craig Baird to make a move on David Russell. But it is a long championship, 8 rounds for the All Porsche Championship for Carrera Cup this season. And you just can't afford to make a mistake. We saw it last year. You had a bad start to the year here in Adelaide, and it really cost you for the rest of the season.
Yeah, look, you need to, on average, you need to score over 100 points at every round to be in the hunt for the last round to win the championship. And basically, I didn't score any points at this round, and I scored over 100 at every other round, and didn't put me in the hunt. But, you know, David's doing a fantastic job in the lead here still, and look, for the people at home following this, it looks like a procession, but these guys are pumping out hard, fast laps, and they just can't afford to make a mistake.
Here's a dice. Andrew Moffat in the Fitzgerald car gets it wrong at the centre chicane and ends up in the sand. Now, can he get out the other side? I don't think so. Of course, he's one of 2 Moffats in the field.
Yeah, this could be a safety car, which is probably a little bit disappointing, but yeah, that was lucky.
Oh, David Wall sideways at turn 9. He was in there pretty deep. He's got some pressure now.
Yes, to Quincy, we have a car in the turn 1. We're going to cover under yellow. It's a yellow flag section.
Yeah, just a yellow flag, stationary yellow flag at the moment, but obviously they may keep this race going.
Oh, Craig Baird, a little touch there with David Russell. But
there's yellow at turn 1.
He's got the pressure on, so you won't be able to pass him at turn 1, which usually wouldn't happen, but so no moves will be put on at turn 1, otherwise you'll be penalised. Craig's looking menacing here now. He's untidy off that curb.
There's Di Fiore. Really, he's been closing in just a little bit on David Wall over the past couple of laps. Here is the replay of Andrew Moffat just getting the rear out of control. Lucky not to take Theo Kandouris with him.
Oh, the boss will be happy about that. Not too much damage, I can tell you.
That car in the sand.
He's obviously braked a little bit too late there, and I'm slightly offline, and that's going to happen to anyone, basically.
First start for Andrew in Carrera Cup. He is stepbrothers with James Moffat. Just a small mistake there, and it can cost you. The V8 Supercars Porsche ends up in the sand. That's a real shame, but it's David Russell who continues to lead the way, but Craig Baird has thrown a little bit at him. There's still a couple of laps to go. We're coming through to the end of lap 11, and it's really important for David now to drive this car very straight.
Yeah, definitely. Look, Beto just doesn't make any mistakes, and he's there, he's right on David, and if one little mistake David makes, Beto will pounce on him, so this is it. He's got 1 lap to go after this one.
That's the call. Last lap. There's 1 lap to go for David Russell. 1 lap to go for Craig Baird. Yellow flags at the centre chicane. No passing through there. There'll be a green flag waiting for them on the exit of the chicane, and they can get racing again. But I guess with it being so tough to pass in Carrera Cup because all the cars are the same, it sets you up nicely for the step to V8 Supercar racing, where the level of competition is in almost another stratosphere.
Yeah, definitely. Look, this is it. That's the last lap. Beto's looking pretty menacing here, but yeah, it does set you up for V8. It's just as close to slight mistake.
In deep at turn 7, and that really does determine your speed all the way down to the turn 8 sweeper, but he's not close enough here. He needs a good run off this one and set up a move up the inside at turn 9.
Yeah, David's been very strong through turn 8. Here's Beto having a little bit of a look.
Oh, Russell, middle of the road, he can do that. He's entitled to that on the last lap.
I'm surprised Craig didn't shove it down there, but look, it's as we saw on race 1 here.
Oh, getting close. Back into the Parklands. And there's only a couple of corners to go now. Craig Baird stole race 1, but then had to give it back after passing Di Fiore.
Good opportunity here into the last corner.
Oh, it's close, it's close, it's close.
Oh, well-protected line from David.
But it's a drag race to the line. David Russell is going to escape. He's withstood the pressure, and he takes race 3 in round 1 of the Carrera Cup. And Sharon Motorsport would be absolutely wrapped with that. Russell is second for the round. He takes his first win in Carrera Cup, and there's a problem. Barton Moore, who was 8th in the race, the Opus Prime Porsche. And the way that car's leading around, he has made some serious contact there. Now, can he creep it to the line and still at least pick up some form of points? That is, well, that's not the way that rear wing's supposed to be hanging off the back of that car.
I can just see Peter.
Juniper might beat him here, he will.
Yeah, he does. So he gets another position. I see Peter Fitzgerald now. he's holding onto his wallet at the moment, I can tell.
Barton makes it home in position 12. David Russell, the winner in race 3. Great action with Carrera Cup. Craig Baird home in 2nd. He's the round winner. David Wall 3rd in this race. Dean Fiore 4th. That's good enough for the Western Australian to finish 3rd for the weekend. Good drive too. Max Twigg works his way up into the top 10. So a great way to start Carrera Cup for a new championship in season 2008. We're looking forward to it, supporting the V8s right throughout the course of the year. The next round, the Porsches are back on track at Wakefield Park in Goulburn. It's on April 4 to 6.
Let the battle begin. He has shot away.
Tander, a good start.
This looks dangerous. Oh, this looks nasty.
The first shots have been fired for 2008, but with 250 Ks to go, the battle for the Clipsal 500 is far from over. The V8s are back on track next, live here on 7.
What a goal! Geelong have done it. What a goal. What a win. The race has gone off.
That was a huge impact. Garth Tander, he is the winner for 2007. Here it is, a beautiful try to Australia. He got it. New Zealand victorious here.
It was the most famous victory imaginable.
That might be a golden moment, a little bit of history.
How sweet it is. It's as good as it gets.
Brand new feature for 2008, the 4X Angels. They'll be travelling right around with the circuit. And they're already a big hit. New sponsors for the V8 Supercar Championship 4X have come on board. And it's great to have them. Just while the crowd waits in readiness for race 2 of the Clipsal 500. Might just take a minute to update you on the situation in the V8 Utes. You may have seen or heard about a fairly big accident earlier on in the race. 3 drivers, Matt Kingsley, Craig Dontis and Colin Corkery, are under observation in Royal Adelaide Hospital. All 3 of those drivers are conscious. So we wish them all the best this afternoon. Pit lane is about to open, so our 28 V8 Supercars will line up. Although I think at the moment we've got 27 in action because car number 39, Russell Ingall, who hit the wall in the warm-up, Boy, that team has been busy. The Super Cheap Auto team have only just minutes ago, I think, probably finally pieced it together. That was the incident.
Yeah, that's a big one. And front left-hand corner of the car's been replaced. They did the cross member. I went into the garage for a look. They've had to change the entire rear end in the car as well. Diff housing, all the Watts linkage assembly. Russell's birthday today, by the way. Happy birthday, but not a great present for him. He did a great job yesterday, and he was climbing up through the field, and for a moment there I thought, look, he's going to be part of it, but they had a problem with second gear. As we look now at this beautiful racetrack that we run on this weekend, the streets of Adelaide, part permanent racetrack, part street circuit, 14 turns in all. And there's the notorious sweeping right-hander at turn 8. 235 km/h approach, zero room for errors, we've noted on the graphic there. And you've got to carry a lot of speed across there. It's about 200 km/h, the minimum speed, right at the apex of the corner. And of course, it also leads to a great passing opportunity on the inside going down to the hairpin at turn number 9. And I can assure you it's a wild ride inside the car.
Well, guys, it was an exciting 2007 for V8 Supercars. How do you top it in 2008? Let's ask the boss, Tony Cochran, the chairman of V8 Supercars. Looking forward to another great year, Tony.
Look, it's away to another huge start here at Clipsal. Fantastic crowds, overwhelming crowds, you know, when you think where we were 10 years ago, where we are today. It's tremendous to be here, and great to have everybody here with us on the 7 Network.
Great way to kick off the year here, isn't it, in Adelaide? It's become such a huge event.
It is, you know, it's got a total life of its own, and I was just laughing. You know you've made it when you've finally got the chairman of the 7 Network, Kerry Stokes, here. That's great, and it just goes to show our corporate support now throughout Australia is overwhelming, quite frankly, and great way for the sport to be in, great shape for the sport to be in.
Tony, what do you look forward to most about 2008?
Oh, look, I think I have a sentimental spot for Hamilton. The New Zealand street race coming on the calendar because it's taken so long. 8 years of hard work. It proves that, you know, perseverance pays off. We've got so many tremendous fans in New Zealand, and to be able to finally really deliver for them is very exciting. It's nearly sold out. Wonderful situation to be in.
All right, Tony, thanks very much. Enjoy today. I know you're going to have a good time.
Can't help but enjoy today, and our thoughts are with Ashley Cooper and his family. You know, come on, Ashley, we hope you pull through, mate. It's tough, but our thoughts are with you.
Thanks, Tony.
Cheers.
Tony Cochran and Mark Beretta. Brits has got it right. This is the 10th anniversary of this event. It's just the perfect way to start the season. Everybody gets behind it. The South Australians have been coming out in huge numbers since day one. And they're all here again. Fantastic venue. Very good setup. Pit lane's always colourful and spectacular. As Neil mentioned, such a great circuit, 3.2 Ks, with so much history behind it. It just provides everything you want when you've been sitting around in the off-season waiting and waiting for these guys to get back on track. There is Jamie Whincup. Start from position number 1, which is where he started race 1. He'll be looking for a better start than he got yesterday. In the end, it all turned out okay. Russell Ingall has joined the rest of the guys on the track. So great work from the Super Cheap Auto team. They've been busy since the warm-up. Russell would have felt absolutely horrible putting his new teammates, new mechanics, and engineers, and everybody in the garage through a few hours of very hard work, but that's the dividends. There's Mark Winterbottom. He was right in the box seat for a victory yesterday. A couple of guys were, in fact, and you might notice there a familiar face just to the right of Frosty was Dean Canto, who has missed out on a full-time drive in 2008, but has signed up with Ford Performance Racing for the Enduros for this season. So it's good to see Dean come on back. Luke Yulden will also join FPR. We are going to take a break here as the countdown continues to race 2 of the Clipsal 500. Stick around with us here on 7. .24 degrees at the moment here at the Clipsal 500. Perfect race conditions. Cool is how the drivers like it. So now's the time when these guys just run through their pre-race routine. Gee, it was interesting yesterday to see the tension in the drivers. Stevie Johnson looks pretty cool. It was just incredible to see how they were so focused. Stephen Richards, Ford Performance Racing, will start from position 5. His teammate is 3 spots further ahead. Mark Winterbottom starting on the front row of the grid alongside Jamie Whincup. So all in all, a pretty handy day for Ford. The leading Holden driver in race 1 was Lee Holdsworth. A bit of a treat for you for the national anthem today. It actually takes 2 to do this. Here's Rachel Beck and Mark Wilson. And Mark Wilson and the boys from the Williamtown base, the FA18 Hornets, flying by. They've put on a spectacular show this weekend. What a sight. That roar that comes across always signals that the race is not too far away.
Jamie Whincup, here we are, starting on the best part of the grid.
Yeah, no, all ready to go. The car was great yesterday, and I'm certainly awake. I was actually in the Portaloo when the F18 flew over for the first time, so that woke me up. I'm good to go.
Standing up or sitting down?
I was sitting down, mate. Nearly fell off the seat. That's all right. We're here. We're ready to go.
Electrical gremlins are gone. Campbell Little tells me it's all sorted for today. The alternator, rather than the alternator, is gone. We've got a newie on board.
Yeah, got a brand newie, new battery. So hopefully that problem's fixed. Hey, it's going to be a long day, 78 laps. It's important for me to get off the line today, not like an old grandma yesterday, and then just work into the race, and hopefully we'll still get our speed at the end.
Thanks, Jamie. Good luck.
Thank you. Cheers.
All right, Lee Holdsworth, everywhere you look around from second row on the grid, there are blue ovals, mate. This is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, it's a bit scary, isn't it? No one else up here from the Holden camp to help me out, but anyway, we'll be trying our best to get up on that podium today.
Things are going well. What's the strategy from here? How are your starts?
Starts haven't been too flash, to tell you the truth, so you know, we're just going to have to try and maintain position, and I think the other boys have got handbrakes so they can load the car up on the start and pounce away, but that's something we've got to work on.
Now, you know your team boss, Gary Rogers, is never quite 100% happy. He told me he was a bit disappointed you didn't win yesterday. He's looking for better today.
Yeah, he always wants more, Gary. That's just his nature, but no, he's very pleased with how we went, and yeah, obviously he wants me to win today.
All right, Lee, all the best, mate.
Thank you. Cheers.
Will Davison, you're one of the Ford boys running the sequential box. How'd you find it yesterday?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, Daniel, and in one sense it certainly saves a bit of energy. So yeah, had a few small issues with it. It seems to be a little bit clunky between gears sometimes, but that's just a few twitches in it, I think, first time out. It's generally a much easier box to use, and I think over the distance here, it certainly saves that one crucial mistake towards the end of the race.
We've talked a lot across the weekend about those bumps now into turn 4. They are the Big Dipper. It looks bad on TV. How is it inside the car?
Yeah, they're pretty wild, and it's pretty important to get the car set up nicely over those bumps. It's very, very easy to lock the rear wheels, and you have to be careful there and not to make a mistake. So we've got our car working pretty nicely. We had a good run yesterday. Besides a mishap in the pit stop, we were looking good for a podium. So we're going to charge hard today.
Good luck, mate.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, Russell Ingall, welcome to the grid. That was pretty touch and go just to get here.
Yeah, look, absolute credit to the crew, you know. I mean, to rebuild virtually the whole car, even put another engine in it in a couple of hours, phenomenal job. Just shows you the talent in this crew. So I'm really thankful to them that I can actually come out here and play cars.
Russell, how are you mentally after all that? You ready to go?
Oh, look, I'm all right. I'll be ready to go. The guy said, look, the car's as good as what we had yesterday, if not better.
What you just had.
And we had a bit of a gearbox problem yesterday, so we slotted another gearbox in it last night. So all things being equal, if I can finish here with only 3 gears, now I've got 6, we're looking all right.
All right, Russell, all the best.
Thank you.
And happy birthday to Rusty, the enforcer, turns 44 today. So everyone's lined up. Everybody's ready. What has Mark Winterbottom got from the start line? They'll have all noticed that Jamie Whincup, like he said, got off to a poor one yesterday. There's Todd Kelly. Inside car number 7, starting from position 15. The one that got away belonged to James Courtney in race 1. Fought his way back up to 10th. Overnight penalty. He now starts from position 16. The Gerald Motorsport entry. So all is in readiness now for the final 250 Ks of the Clipsal 500. We'll let you get sorted. When we come back, we'll be gridding up for race 2. So remember, the race 2 winner of the Clipsal 500 is declared the Clipsal champion. Over the last 9 years, it's only been twice that the bloke who's finished first on the week on the Sunday race hasn't also collected more points than any other else. As it stands over the 9 years, it's Ford 4 victories, Holden the rest. And Rick Kelly is the defending Clipsal champion. That's Tony D'Alberto in Rod Nash Racing, car 55. And let's take you through the Fuso start grid for race 2 here of round 1 of the V8 Supercar Championship. Ford and Ford, 1 and 2. Whincup versus Winterbottom. And Craig Lowndes from Team Vodafone, car 888, starting from position 3. There's Lee Holdsworth, Gary Rogers Motorsport. The leading man from the Generals men, Stephen Richards and Stephen Johnson, pair up for positions 5 and 6 on the grid. Will Davison, another Jim Beam racer, inside the top 10. Rick Kelly in car number 15 this year. Mark Scaife for the Toll Holden Racing team, car number 2. And Greg Murphy will start from position 10.
And looking further afield, Fabian Coulthard absolutely thrilled with that performance yesterday in car 111, the ex-888 racer that Craig Lowndes used to finish 3rd last year. They made a couple of small changes on the run to improve that car. Looking further back, there's James Courtney buried in the field alongside Todd Kelly. They made contact late in the race yesterday. Andrew Jones, Tony D'Alberto. They'll share position 17 and 18. Marcus Marshall, blisters on his feet. The tray and the floor got so hot, he'll be there with Andrew Thompson, Shane Price and Kane Scott. It's an all-black 21-22 positions on the grid. Garth Tander, broken shock absorber in the front of that car, sidelined him yesterday. Paul Dumbrell, he was also saying to me this morning he feels that the sequential box is a little bit awkward to use, but he's going to persevere with it. Paul Morris and Jason Bright, they did an engine change on that car overnight. We saw them having to put water in the car in the afternoon. They weren't 100% sure what the issue was. I think it might have a porous cylinder head. Rather than fiddle with it, they just did an engine change, try and solve the problem. So all those repairs to Russell Ingall's car, what does that do for him in car number 39? Charged through the field yesterday, looked competitive, and then a little problem with second gear. He had to spend what is a disproportionate amount of time around this racetrack in third gear to try and get around the problem because it was jumping out all the time. But a bit of promise there for Supercheap Auto Racing, judging by his race form yesterday. And I mentioned earlier, what about Shane Van Gisbergen? That man there, car number 9, the SP Tools entry. And when they filled the refrigerator with ice for his cool suit, they managed to freeze the whole system up, so it didn't work for the duration of the race. I've had that happen once, and it's not pleasant, certainly not for 250 kilometres. Here's the deal. The weather. Well, at this point in time, there's been no sign of the showers, although you never know, you can't speak too soon. The situation is compulsory pit stops to be taken for both fuel and tyres between laps 26 and 55. And it takes about 34 odd seconds to transit the lane and take on that fuel. They'll get rid of about 2.3 to 2.4 litres per lap, about 1 3/4 kilos. Just looking at who did what yesterday and what strategy works, a bit hard to really work out whether anybody had a particular advantage. There's a good shot of the resurfacing at turn 8. It'll be one of the reasons why the track's just a little bit faster, so you can see the darker patch through that portion of the racetrack. The race winner, Jamie Whincup, he took on fuel lap 27 as we look at one of the many onboard cameras here for Todd Kelly, Jack Daniels Racing. Fuel for Whincup lap 27 and then tyres on lap 32, so they virtually back-to-back them. Second place Winterbottom, he took on tyres on lap 28, fuel on lap 49. Lowndes, tyres on 28, fuel on 45. So variations in the strategy. We've got variations in all the onboard cameras this year. Everybody's covered every which way. Here's Garth Tander. And he's just accelerating, braking, weaving, trying to get heat to soak out through the brake rotor, through the wheel rim and out into the carcass of the tyre. Try and make sure that rubber's as warm as he can get it before the start of the race. They're not allowed to break traction from this point down to the start-finish line area for obvious safety reasons. There's the bloke who got the job done yesterday. Sequential gearbox in that car.
He got 150 championship points for that race victory yesterday. The maximum weekend haul for this season is 300. This is a 2-race weekend, so it's split straight down the middle. It'll change when we get to Eastern Creek for the 3-race rounds. Basically, the gist is this: 150 to the winner. The gap between first and second is 12 points, so 138 went to Mark Winterbottom. And the gap changes again from second down to sixth. Points handed down to all those who finished this year, not just the top 15. The rear of the grid, locking into place.
Grid set.
It was Ford's day on Saturday. Who will fight back in race 2? We get underway. A good, clean start. This is going to be a good battle between Winterbottom and Whincup. Winterbottom will take it through to turn 1.
And Stephen Richards got a scorcher. He jumped right up to position 3, I believe, on the run up to turn 4. He has. Winterbottom, Whincup, Richards, Holdsworth covering down the inside with Rick Kelly on him.
Crunch between Russell Ingall and Fabian Coulthard. Just a little bit of push and shove in the mid-pack. Up to turn 7. That's the right-hander. Single file, peel out to the Dunlop sweeper. Crazy stuff. Turn 9, everything happens here. Holdsworth continues to defend his position from Rick Kelly. A little bit of contact mid-corner there for Shane Van Gisbergen and Todd Kelly.
And it's always difficult to race hard with cold tyres, cool brakes, and everybody trying to scramble for position. Anything you can grab now in terms of track position is gold, but it's hard to achieve without sometimes risking the car.
I'll tell you who's dropped off the radar was Craig Lowndes. Started from 3rd. He's in 8th. Well, let's see them come up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's Lowndes, position 8. In front of him is Will Davison. Behind him is Mark Scaife.
The reason for that, Matty, I've just come out of the garage. He bogged it down on the start, had to get off the throttle, dump the clutch again. That's the reason.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that will have helped Stephen Richards' cause as well. Here it is again in replay. Zinger replay shows that the two blokes up front did an awesome job, but Holdsworth and Lowndes both stood still and got swamped by Stevie Richards, and then one of the Jim Beam cars, I think it was Will Davison. Isn't that an awesome shot? In fact, it was Stephen Johnson. Here's a run. Lowndes down the inside now of Davison. Scaife wants to buy into that too.
Boy, that was clean. Lined that up from way back. Tell you who else got a pretty good start was Russell Ingall. He made up 2 spots. He was trying to thread the needle left, right and centre. And in the end, Coulthard shut him out. So second time around.
Flat tyre, front left for Paul Morris, and he'll have to come to the lane. 2 tough days for Morris. Car 67, the super cheap auto car. Fastest lap so far at 23.5 for Winterbottom. He's got margin. Just on a second. Whincup Richards. They've got a little bit of breathing space. It's that next group that's a bit of an angry pack at the moment. It involves Stevie Johnson, Lee Holdsworth, Rick Kelly. Rick was really pleased with the performance of the car later in the race yesterday. Obviously, there was that unfortunate situation between he and his teammate Paul. And I mentioned earlier in the broadcast today that I thought that Eric Pender, who's taken on the team management role at the HSV dealer team, really handled that situation well. And it was interesting that Rick even said in his television interview earlier that, you know, the team sat down. They know that it wasn't a good thing to happen late in the race. Talk it through, sort it out, get on with business. It was a smart way to play it. Whincup's done a fast split to the second sector of 49.5. And what about the performance of his car late in the race yesterday, and how clever was that strategy to recover from what could have been disastrous with what was essentially going to be a flat battery, and then shutting down the electricals when they had an alternator problem, some sort of an intermittent drama. And then they dealt themselves back into the game, and the tyre performance on their car late in the stint was fantastic, and that was the thing that hurt the Ford Performance Racing cars just a little for both Stevie Richards and for Mark Winterbottom. Late in the race, they didn't have enough overall balance, and Ingall's out of business on the front straight, and that's such a shame.
We will have an early safety car. I can see yellow.
So both the super cheap auto cars find trouble. Did he get it back going again? He's stuck just on the left. No, he's still stuck there.
What's wrong, mate? No oil pressure.
There's the board safety car.
Such a shame. Those guys have worked absolutely flat to the boards to get the car out there. Bretz is on the spot there with Nigel, but Nigel's on the radio. Andrew Jones going up the inside there of Russell, and by that stage he's already got a disabled car, and he's just moved it off to the left side of the road. The safety car's out as Russell tries to figure out how to get the Holden fired up again, or what the issue might be.
While he does so, we will take a break. Mark Winterbottom is the race leader. Jamie Whincup, by the way, on that last flying lap, posted the fastest time, 1:23.241. You're watching race 2 of the Clipsal 500 here on 7. The field is still snaking its way around the streets of the Adelaide Parkland circuit, with the WPS Chrysler safety car about to pull away. The lights are out on top of the Chrysler, so it will veer off to the right into pit lane right now. Mark Winterbottom has control of the field.
One of the Jim Beam cars has peeled off, it seems. Now, it was interesting, as the safety car came out, Jason Bright took the opportunity to come to the lane and put fuel on and it meant that he went to the back of the train, but he was kind of back there anyway. He was up to like 23rd. He's down again now to 26th or something, but it means that he's grabbed some fuel 4 laps in. Sort of puts 10 or 12 litres back in the car. It might just help him in a strategy play later in the race.
And that was Will Davison who came in. Well, Stephen Johnson's right there in 4th. And Will in the garage.
Yeah, boys, the reason for that, I just spoke to team manager Adrian Burgess. He says they held the lights on the line so long, they've actually fried the clutch.
So the order, as they bring it around to turn 9. Ooh, Courtney.
He's been complaining of handling imbalances as well, and he's already brushed the wall a little bit at turn 8. So that car doesn't appear to be happy at the moment.
Mark Winterbottom leads. Jamie Whincup 2nd. Stephen Richards 3rd. Stephen Johnson 4th. Courtney still being aggressive. Lee Holdsworth 5th. Rick Kelly 6th. Lowndes, Scaife, Greg Murphy, Fabian Coulthard make up the top 10. On board with Team Vodafone. Down to the sweeper. Greg Murphy is posting some pretty good sector times. A few cars back, he's 9th.
Gives us a bit of a look at the new lightweight high-tech cameras that the cars are carrying now for the judicial process. They can download the data from the car and the images from the car quickly, taking a bit of weight out of the whole system. The car we're riding with has the sequential gearbox, and we mentioned yesterday in the coverage that more of the Fords have this sequential gearbox. You watch Jamie at work here, just a pull of the lever, sprung loaded. From 5th back to 2nd for turn 4. Briefly on the rev limiter, 2nd gear, staying in 2nd for 5. On the rev limiter, briefly again, just bops it. 6, and you climb the ripple strip. 7, use the ripple strip on the exit. 3rd, 4th, and so on as Will Davison gets going in that. And it's still slipping. I was going to say they won't have been able to change the clutch in that period of time, but they may have made an adjustment.
Nigel Barclay, it's been a big weekend for Super Cheap Auto. You've been the busiest crew in pit lane, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, this race hasn't, or this day hasn't started as we wanted, with Russell having a slide into that nasty old turn 8. And then the race, he said it's an electrical problem. So, you know, it can only be contributed to the accident this morning. And then Paul's car, it looks like it's split an oil line or something. So, not the sort of thing you want to happen on a Sunday.
Yeah, right, Nigel. I know your luck's going to get better, mate. All the best.
Oh, it is. Thanks very much.
There has been a really big mover in the field from 23rd up to 11th. And just set the fastest time of the race, 1:23.08. Is this man right here, car number 1, Toll HRT's Garth Tander.
Very, very good speed, but now he's cleared out from the group behind, but you can see the wall of cars in front of him, so that's the puzzle that he has to unlock. How to carry that speed and then make decent passing manoeuvres that don't endanger the car and keep clicking him towards the front, and that's really difficult on these sorts of circuits. Look how much of that curbing they use on the exit of turn 7. Turn 8, little dab of the brake. But good brake performance. He's going to have a look at Courtney. Done. And James made it easy.
That was for 10th spot. GT predicted that there'd be a few more safety cars in this one. We had to wait a long time.
See the race one slide there from Courtney as he exited the left-hander.
Davison is...
Great job, mate. C10, just pick them up one by one. Have a drink.
He's unbuckling and he's jumping out of the Jim Beam Racer. And the encouragement continues over the team radio for Garth Tander. Matty Nilsson just saying, great job, you're up to 10th. Keep it going.
That's Greg Murphy we're looking at, just in the foreground. A little margin now for Mark Winter.
Well, we'll have a short and sweet. Yeah, not wrong. It's certainly not the best way to end a weekend. Yeah, very frustrating. Strange, it's just a clutch slip issue. It sort of wasn't from the start. Normally, if you get a bit of clutch slip off the line, it comes back. And as soon as I took off from the lights, there was just pretty much no clutch. As soon as I tried to go, and then the slippage just got worse and worse and worse for about 3 laps, and then I lost complete clutch feel and absolutely zero drive. So actually, funny enough, in the warm-up, I felt something this morning, but I thought it might have been me, so it's pretty shattering.
Hard luck. Thanks, mate.
Oh, yeah. You'll be right.
So that leaves Stephen Johnson out there as the sole Jim Beam racer. He's in 4th. He just did a 1:23.03. The timing monitor has been lighting up as they come across that control line, so they're all finding good pace right now. Edging towards 1:22s. Lee Holdsworth holding down 5th position.
Both the Dick Johnson Racing and the Gary Rogers Motorsport outfits are tantalisingly close to a breakthrough, aren't they? Stephen and Will, even though he's had some tough luck today, Lee Holdsworth, we had a win at Oran Park last year for Lee, but they're just a whisker away from getting right at the front of the field. Very encouraging. Good to see them up there. One of the HRT cars having a lunch down the inside. I suspect it's the continuing march from Garth Tander down there into turn 9. It is. I think Garth has actually put the move on Greg Murphy. Rick Kelly climbing up on the ripple strip into turn 13, the second last corner, just trying to hold line, hold position.
Yeah, so Tander is now officially 9th, which puts him behind his teammate Mark Scaife.
Tander's just done a 1:22.9, passing cars on the way. That's pretty flash. That is bumpy. Climbing across the curbing on the right-hand side at turn 4. Not a lot of speed through these corners, only 80 kilometres an hour right in the middle of the corner. Up to 130 here, back to 80. Back up to 130, back to 80. So a very similar rhythm all around that end of the circuit. And now it's 235, 240 kilometres an hour on the run to turn 8. Staying in 6th.
Gives us a pretty good view too. 2 cars up the road of Craig Lowndes and Rick Kelly. Look at them. Last time round, they did exactly the same thing. Kelly stuck it over to the right-hand side, played the defensive card.
Fastest sector split to the second sector. Andrew Jones in the Team BOC hold. He's 13th at the moment. He just made a front anti-roll bar change on that car to stiffen it up to get rid of some oversteer in the rear, stiffening the front up a little to compensate.
We can see him blocking, mate. We can see him blocking, so keep your head cool.
Message to Craig Lowndes. His new man on the radio this year is Jeremy. Forming a little freight train here, and Lowndes up the inside, used all the curbing to get it done, and Scaife runs with him. It'll be side by side. And Rick just gets out of it. That was where he had some strife.
And now the former teammates find themselves battling together. Garth Tander went with Mark Skaife to try and get around Rick Kelly. He got a bit taily in the process. And now it's Tander versus Rick. You just see that one coming. Lowndes did not mess about on that move. He was patient for 2 laps. And Skaife, in the blink of an eye, took advantage as well. Great reaction time.
Courtney was having a nibble at the back of Greg Murphy too, just as they turned in to the hairpin at 9. He didn't get it done. In fact, he lost a little bit of ground, so he had to probably pull the nose of the car back out there.
Okay, mate, try shifting the car up a little bit.
That was the message to Mark Skaife, try and stiffen the car up a little bit. They're talking about anti-roll bar controls in the car. Order is Winterbottom, Whincup, Richards, Johnson, Holdsworth, Lowndes, Skaife, Kelly. And this little battle that we're focused on at the moment's a beauty. Mark Skaife.
Where does he make that adjustment?
Just to the left of...
he would wait for, say, down this part of the track?
Oh, sorry, yeah, he does it where it's quiet. You can't make the adjustment when there's load on the car. David Swenson, Mike Henry there, further to the right, Matt Nilsson. They're looking at all the data numbers. They're looking at the behaviour of the car. They're looking at their individual drivers, Mark Skaife and Garth Tander. Often each driver has his own preferences as to how they've set the car, but yes, in a straight line where there's a little bit of time to think, and when there's no lateral, that is sideways load on the car. You can't do it in the middle of a corner.
There's 5 cars in that group. Courtney's at the rear of this little battle pack. Fabian Coulthard and Andrew Jones is up to 13th position, started from 18th. So he's pushing through well. Also for Team BOC, Mark Winterbottom has a half a second lead over Jamie Whincup, Stephen Richards and Stephen Johnson. Make it all 4 forwards, and Lee Holdsworth leading the Holden charge. The Clipsal 500 race 2 on lap 17. You're looking at positions 1 and 2. The top of the screen, Mark Winterbottom. Car number 5, Jamie Whincup, 88, and Whincup has a sniff.
Winterbottom's been under pressure, and the body language in the Ford Performance Racing Orcon Ford suggests that he's right at his limit now. Greg Murphy's in strife too. I think somebody gave him a whack. They're changing tyres, and they've also got a steering arm problem, and they're taking the opportunity as a discretionary stop to put fuel in. It doesn't count for the compulsory stop. I believe there may have been contact with James Courtney. We'll try and verify that for you.
Send it to the stewards, please. Stick of that fucking idiot.
So, in fact, I know for sure now that there was definitely a problem between James and Greg, because I've heard the radio conversations, and here's why.
The Zinger replay down at turn 9 showing side-by-side, squeeze, push, shove, damage to the sprint gas racer. Look at that contact right in the driver's side door. Driver's side mirror. And Murph is right at breaking point.
Oh, Rick, a big front lock-up, and he's gone down the escape road at turn 9.
And that's why he's back at 12th position.
It's all happening.
You just get the feeling there's been a couple of tiny, minute little errors from Mark Winterbottom as he's under attack from Whincup. He's managed to gather it all back together and continue with this race lead. It's only half a second. In fact, it's 0.4 of a second. Look at that. On lap 15, Whincup had the ascendancy. Lap 16, Winterbottom fought back, so they went 17, 18.
Jamie's been talking about keeping an eye on the water temperature as well, because he's tucked so far up under the back of the preceding car that will be affecting his brake performance, his front aero balance and the water temperature in the engine.
So it's a race in two between Winterbottom and Whincup. Not too far away is Stephen Richards.
He's looking.
Here we go. Turn 4, Dylan got the job done.
Winterbottom ended up surrendering that one. You could tell that initially he kind of looked and thought, no. There was real intent on the part of Jamie then, and remember that there was a little bit of contact yesterday. Safety cars being prepared for an issue here. And car number 11, Shane Price. Looks like he's had a significant failure there at turn 11. There's oil everywhere. And that car's pulled off to the left-hand side of the road. I did hear him say a few moments earlier that he thought the car had dropped a cylinder, so it may relate to that issue. And the computer shows full course yellow. Safety car is out. And there's oil from about here all the way from turn 9. You'll see it. And there it is. Rushes off to the left, and that was Shane's car on the left side of the road. WPS safety car about to grab the field with the order: Winterbottom, Whincup, Richards, Johnson, Holdsworth, Lowndes, Scaife, Tander, Courtney and Andrew Jones in the top 10.
And now that they've crossed the control line, the order has been corrected because Jamie Whincup has the race lead. Field to be compressed.
That's 20 laps complete, Jamie. 20 laps complete, mate. You're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah,
nice move with that. You had his number for the whole race, mate. So hopefully when we go green, we can nice and smoothly gap in.
So just as Whincup got hold of the race lead, the whole field behind him will bunch up for a restart of the Clipsal 500. Still under full course yellow, Paul Dumbrell. The Autobahn entry is in pit lane with big problems.
In pit lane too, Matty, with Ross Stone. Ross, you saw the incident with James Courtney and Greg Murphy. What are your thoughts?
Oh, well, James didn't really gain from it. You don't want to see that sort of thing happening, but sometimes you go in there a bit hot. But yesterday, after the Winterbottom and Whincup incident, you know, it's pretty okay. You know, it's okay.
So you don't jump on the radio and say, listen, just cool it down a little bit. Is this the sort of racing you want to see from your boy?
Oh, we spent a fair bit of time before this race talking about the best way to go forward in it. And, you know, from now on, we want to see nice, good, clean race.
Thanks, Ross.
Okay, no worries, Daniel.
Yeah, Ross Stone.
There was a fair bit of unrest in the paddock last night about the moves that were questioned in yesterday's race. And, you know, Ross is subtly saying there that, well, I saw it yesterday, and if it worked yesterday, it works today. And that'll be something that I'm sure the paddock will continue to debate for a while.
Thomas Mazzeri's going to have a busy year, isn't he?
Yes, I would not want his job.
Restart, off we go. Whincup is our leader. Winterbottom is second. Stephen Richards, Stephen Johnson, high, bounce. Through they go, 1 and 2. The centre chicane. There's Lee Holdsworth. He's fifth. Then it's Lowndes, Scaife and Tander. Courtney is behind this man that you're riding with, Garth Tander. Back through the field, Fabian Coulthard's in 11th position. The Glenfords Racing entry.
covering Lowndes here. 5th and 6th. Can't wander over the road too much. Both the HRT cars were side by side then too. Wander around too much, you cannot expose yourself to the next bloke.
Garth got that position there off Scaife. So Tander now moves up into 7th. Remember, he started 23rd. Heading towards the compulsory pit stop window.
And that was Andrew Jones having a look up the inside of James Courtney. Couldn't quite get it done.
Well, Jeff Gresh, Tasman Motorsport, Greg Murphy's having a tough time out there with James Courtney. Happened yesterday and it's happened again today.
Yeah, Mark, you would think after yesterday, and I guess the stewards talking to him, and he would have reflected on yesterday, but obviously he hasn't. So maybe it goes to show the mental capacity of the guy that's driving. But it's disappointing because we weren't the fastest, but we were sneaking up. We made some improvement, but look, there's not much we can do about it now. We're just trying to try and finish if we can in the best possible position.
All right, Jeff, all the best, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah, and finishing now is what it's all about as you pay points further down the list. The Toll HSV car 16 of Dumbrell has got a left front problem. Something in the upright at the moment. They are replacing the shock. So as soon as I know more, boys, I'll give it to you. But that's what they're replacing at the minute.
That's for car 16, Paul Dumbrell's Autobahn car. So he's the man in focus, isn't he, James Courtney?
Let's have a look at lap speed here. Whincup 23.4, Winterbottom 24 even, Richards 24 even, Johnson 24, Holdsworth 4.3, Lowndes 4.3, Tander 4.2. Courtney's in the threes as well, 3.9. He's having a look at Scaife. Not 100% sure why at this point, but the Autobahn entry of Paul Dumbrell is going to get a drive-through penalty if it rejoins. We'll chase that story.
Stephen Richards has tagged right up behind his FPR stablemate of Mark Winterbottom, and Jamie Whincup has just pulled away. Last time round it was 2.1 seconds. Jamie is now approaching the main straightaway, so this will give us an indication. 2.1 seconds was the difference. He crosses the control line right there. What is it this time? 2.74 seconds.
Thanks, Matty. Just down here with Paul Dumbrell. Paul, a problem with the left front. We think it's a shock. What happened?
Yeah, not quite sure, really, Daniel. It's we were going quite well there, and just all of a sudden under the safety car, I just felt tracking a little funny. We've come in and realised we've got a front suspension drama.
They've also just mentioned over the radio you've got a drive-through penalty now. Do you know what that's from?
No, not at all, but I'm happy to serve as many of those now. Unfortunately, that race is over, and we just got to put some laps and get some more testing in today.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks a lot.
And I can add to that, it's for a refuelling infringement, that's all I know. But if he does go back out, he'll have a drive-through for a refuelling infringement.
Pretty much just like he said, makes no difference now.
Gee, that's good pace here from Whincup again, 2.7 seconds, pulling a margin after a restart. Tremendous pace yesterday. And for a while there, he dropped off our radars because of what we thought was going to be a delay that would put him out of business with that electrical drama. And he came fighting back, and the pace that car had late in its stint was the impressive part. But you've got to look at it now and say it's not just at the end of the run tyre-wise, it's generally. 1 minute 23.3 for Jamie Whincup.
And here's James Courtney on the Zinger replay down at turn 9. He'll get this position off Mark Scaife. So Courtney up to 8th. Compulsory pit stop window now open.
He's got some pace again because he's actually beginning to claw back at Garth Tander, who had massive pace early.
Just elaborating, Neil, on that refuelling infringement, it was because their fire marshal, which is a must-have when you're refuelling, was too slow to get out of the garage.
Yeah, I knew it would be for one of those sorts of peripheral issues, so that explains that. Car number 14, Cam McConville, I think, has got some issues as well. I'll try and come up with an answer for you on that. Someone's given him a whack, and I think there's some damage on that car, and they'll put tyres on it. But Andrew Jones in the sister car is 10th at the moment. Meantime, Courtney, we're looking backwards from Garth Tander's car. Missed a gear then. Did you hear that? He actually grabbed a neutral on the upshift, I think. It sounded like it. Might have been the rev limiter. But this is a great battle, isn't it? Okay, so the 2 lead cars are in for service.
Gone in straight away. Whincup and Winterbottom. Both tyres.
That's your title. Think about brake balance.
Both in and out cleanly.
That's basically what they did yesterday. Yesterday, Winterbottom came in lap 28. Whincup came in 27. And you can see the numbers down there on the bottom left-hand side of the screen as to what lap we're on now. Interesting thing there is that Whincup had fresh air and was bolting down the road. Didn't really necessarily have to do that, but they've got a recipe that worked for them yesterday. Just on that refuelling breach for car number 16, Paul Dumbrell, not only is it a pit lane drive-through penalty, but there's also a $5,000 fine attached to it. So the news keeps getting worse there for that one. Stephen Richards is in, and I think Lowndes has followed as well.
That's right, that means that Lee Holdsworth is the race leader. There he is, Stephen Johnson second, third Tander, fourth Courtney.
Oh, they had to hold Stephen because Rick was coming in.
Brake balance.
There was a very good stop efficiency-wise, but he got stuck.
Jason, get the mirror.
Well, not good news for Tasman Motorsport. Their day continues. Jason Richards coming into pit lane, turned too wide and hit pit wall, came to a stop.
Oh. So they've done 888 cars the other way round again. So they've put fuel in Craig's car. They did tyres on Whincup's car. So Craig's now fueled to the end.
There's Cam McConville, the WOW Racing Team BOC Commodore.
So they'll run the fuel down on Lowndes' car and watch the strategy, and then at some point they'll put some fresh boots on that car and make some pace. Step up to former HRT cars for Andrew Jones, Cam McConville. In fact, Andrew's come in now and he's doing tyres as well. So's Lee Holdsworth, who was the race leader, now leaves James Courtney in control of the race. Tander, tyres.
Go.
That's pretty handy too.
Scaife stayed out. Fabian Coulthard's up to third. Todd Kelly. Greg Murphy, despite his woes, is still on the lead lap and up there as well.
This is Shane Van Gisbergen in car number 9. Back to Team Vodafone.
Incidentally, when the tyres have been done, the green light in behind the windscreen is switched off. When the fuel's been done, that orange or red light So
back-to-back for Lowndes.
Yeah, and if you look again at yesterday's form, quite a few people did this, although yesterday for Lowndes, they actually had a bit of a gap between their tyre and fuel stops. But they've just chosen to get them both done and dusted and then just get on with the racing.
So he is now going to the end. On a Zinger replay, the sprint gas racer of Jason Richards. As Brett's mentioned, he had some trouble in pit lane. Now he finds himself pointing the wrong way at turn 9.
Now, was that on his own or was there some assistance? Todd Kelly was the other car lurking in behind at the time.
This is the pit lane incident. Look at this. He wants to go right.
David Coulthard did that here in a Formula 1 race a long time ago. I think... No, I'm not going to have a stab at the year. But anyway, it happened.
I thought you were going to have a stab at the driver. So Craig Lowndes is loaded up, ready to go to the end. Jamie Whincup on corrected order will maintain the race lead. James Courtney, Mark Scaife, Fabian Coulthard, Greg Murphy and Kane Scott in the Team Kiwi car yet to pit.
Fastest lap of the race. That's a new one for Rick Kelly, 1:22.8.
Morris's car 67 gives Jamie some room down at turn 9.
He's a couple of laps down, Paul, because of the woes that he had at the start of the race. They're preparing for James Courtney, and here he is. And it's Mark Scaife that's wandered in there with him. Fastest sector splits for both Stephen Richards and Shane Van Gisbergen. Van Gisbergen's just done the fastest split to the second sector. Stephen Richards, 1:22.5. We're seeing very good pace here.
Steve Johnson gets a touch up from Garth Tander and who gets a rub along from James Courtney as he went through.
Yes. He's taken the bit of the bumper and the tail light out of Tander's car. Here it is, whack. Tander couldn't get it stopped. Almost certain to get a penalty for that, I'd say. Here it is from James' car. That's Garth. Actually, that could have been a lot worse.
It just happens so quickly down at 9, doesn't it? They come off that maximum speed 8. They all line up because they know there's room there. Now they're dicing down towards 8. It's Andrew Thompson in the PWR. Correction, that's Team BOC car, Andrew Jones.
Yeah, he's having a vigorous battle there with Mark Scaife. Murphy's actually leading the race.
Can you tell me what's wrong? Well, feels like the whole gone over center or something, like something not right.
Let's go.
Right front, let's set a fuel stop and have a look at it.
You can just hear the sound like Tander.
Fuel stop.
Whincup's done the fastest lap of the race, a 1:22.3. So Tander's got troubles again. Murphy is the race leader. Whincup is next in the queue.
Jack it up, jack the car up.
That, by the way, is a new lap record.
Under it and have a look. Put stubbies under it, slow it down.
Let's focus on this drama. You can hear the disappointment in Garth Tander's voice.
And the signal there to cut the engine.
Finish refueling it, put the wheel back on. Let's get it back inside. Turn it off, Garth. Right, drop it down. Go jacks. 4 go jacks. Get it inside, please.
Boys, that looks exactly the same as yesterday. They took the right front tyre off, grabbed the upright, gave it a rattle, and gave the signal. That's it. Same deal as yesterday.
Unbelievable.
More action. What's this one? This is Tander when the problem first revealed itself. So he's had to flick spin it down the end, and you can see the front wheel just wobbling around there, the front right. Here it is again. Surfing over the bumps and goes straight up Wakefield Street, turn 4, into the runoff area. Murphy's come in for his stop, leaves Whincup back in control. And here they are putting the car on the go jacks to manoeuvre it back in.
And again, if you missed it, the lap that Jamie Whincup did just as all this drama unfolded, 122.35.
Yeah, mate, great laps ahead, please.
Is a new lap record on this circuit.
Courtney's just done a very fast split to the end of the first sector at 28.8.
So aside from Team Kiwis, Kane Scott, the top guys are correct in order. Whincup leads Winterbottom. I'm telling you, you've got this about James Courtney. He's on a flyer.
Yep, he's just done a 48.9 to the second split. Those that have done both their stops, Tander, but of course he's in the garage at the moment. Stephen Richards has done tyres and fuel. Murphy's done tyres and fuel. Lowndes has done tyres and fuel. Courtney's done just tyres. What's the lap time going to be for James Courtney? We're going to take a break. Whincup is the leader.
It was a 122.7. Well, the compulsory pit stops have pretty much settled down now.
Down here with Garth Tander. Garth, seems like a similar problem to yesterday.
Yeah, but a bit of a different circumstance. James Courtney sort of came through on the inside of me pretty aggressively, and his rear wheel hit my front wheel, and it's broken something in the front. So, unfortunately, we're making pretty good progress up till then.
A hard weekend back for you.
Certainly has been. We've had very good speed, and like that race, obviously, we got through the pack pretty well, but, yeah, we've got a few things to fix.
Very similar call to yesterday over the radio that it's gone over centre, possibly indicating you run a... Rattle guns are a fun part of motorsport, aren't they? You run a very interesting part of your anti-roll bar here. You mentioned on the radio it's possibly gone over centre. Is that what you think it is?
I don't know what it is. It feels very similar to what we had yesterday, but it's different circumstance of how we got it. So it's one of those things.
Hard luck, champ.
Thanks, mate.
And keeping in mind that, yes, James did go down the inside, but he went down the inside because Garth was hitting Steve Johnson at the time. So it wasn't a standard set of circumstances anyway. Just kind of thinking through what it all means in reality, because some people haven't taken the second stop here. The best placed car in the field at the moment that's done both stops is Stephen Richards. He's 14th, and he is 41 seconds behind Whincup, who should be able to come in at some point, grab his fuel, which he's not yet done, in about 34 seconds and rejoin. However, Winterbottom's about 7 seconds off the lead behind Whincup.
Yep.
And he is vulnerable to Stephen Richards and Craig Lowndes. So when Winterbottom does his stop, he'll be right in the middle of those two guys. And so that'll be one to watch as this race unfolds.
He'll be coming out of pit lane. Stephen Richards
right in the middle of that battle.
Should be coming shooting up pit straight, main straight. So this is Mark Scaife coming in.
Yeah, he's just done tyres. And they did fuel on lap 30. And Whincup's just at the moment managing, making sure that he doesn't actually push the car too hard when he doesn't need to.
Back we go on board our race leader.
This is a great opportunity for us to have a look and a listen at a good, hard, fast lap around this racetrack. We'll just get the effects up and listen and watch as this bloke does the business, and watch him use that sequential gearbox. pace. That last lap we were riding with him, he did a 1 minute 22.8. It's only half a second off his best, which he did on lap 32.
Didn't see a soul that whole lap.
He's really got some pace. There's Andrew Jones, who's 10th at the moment. This is a great run in this car. Holden's for Brad Jones Racing and Team BOC for 2008. Wholesale change of equipment. Some new people. Wally Story, senior engineer, has been around for many years, involved with this team. Phil Curtis is actually engineering this car. It's only this first time, in fact, that Andrew's had the same engineer 2 years in a row.
Neil, you mentioned before that Jamie Whincup was just having a look at engine temps when he was behind in that battle with Mark Winterbottom. The temperature then was about 84 degrees. While not critical, amazingly it's dropped 10 degrees. Now the engine temp sitting on 74. Now he's in clean air.
This is the other fella that is doing a very, very impressive job this weekend. This car was the car that Craig Lowndes used to finish third in the championship last year. It's a Triple 8 car that Paul Cruikshank has acquired, Glenford's Tools racing entry, and it's got the latest generation Stone Brothers racing engine in it. And Fabian really rocked along yesterday. He did a very quick lap. They made a little change to the chassis mid-race, smartened it up, and he was one of the fastest runners. Are they having a look at Scaife's car there? I can't see the number on the car because I'm assuming that Garth's car is still in the lane, in the pit garage, I should say.
Yeah.
Yes.
And perhaps the same problem. Gibbo's just zeroing in.
There's obviously something seriously weird going on there. Courtney, meantime, has done the fastest split to the end of the first sector. He's third on the road at the moment. I heard them speak to Mark and warn him that they confirmed over the radio that the problem for Garth was the same as yesterday. And here is Courtney. Very quick to the first split, which is taken up around turns 5 and 6. He didn't continue with that pace into the second sector split.
He changed his tyres on lap 30.
Mark Scaife is describing having gone straight ahead. I think he's just locked a brake. He did nip a brake yesterday and damaged the tyre. He had to carry it for the whole race, though.
5.5 Winterbottom. Keep it up.
You asked me before about anti-roll bar controls. There they are, the big sticks that are to the left of James Courtney. What was the lap time for James? A 1 minute 22.8. That's pretty good. Whincup's done a 22.9. Winterbottom a 23.2. So sequential gear shift. Don't know.
It's just a bit of tape. I think that was from the impact that he had on earlier with Greg Murphy.
It's a bit of a door surround, I think, or something like that. There was a bit of damage on the car. So there's a little sprung-loaded button on the top of those anti-roll bar controls. One of them controls the roll bar at the front, one at the rear, and it just controls the amount of body roll and momentum in the car, and you can either stiffen or soften the car. The safety car's being scrambled. We've got a problem around the circuit somewhere.
Please, James,
Box, that means James is coming to the lane. They're going to put fuel in that car. And you'll see Whincup and Winterbottom do the same. Oh, Richo. Buried.
That's down at turn 11. Funnily enough, that was the same spot, remember, he went to in warm-up. Obviously didn't go in there with impact because he just pulled it away. I'm pretty sure that's exactly the same spot, but he's a little bit deeper here. The question is, how hard did he go in? Is there damage? How did it happen? The recovery guy's right on the scene, so he should be out of there quickly, and Jamie Whincup comes in for his second final compulsory stop for fuel.
They had a good look around the front to clear a bit of the leaf litter out of the radiator intake just above the splitter. Okay, so that was critical. He was in a good spot on the track as soon as they saw and heard the scramble of the safety car to come in, get processed and done, and Winterbottom too. That's what I wanted to see. So they've got their job done. And Courtney. Oh, this livens things up.
SBR went back-to-back. You might have seen just in the background there, Van Gisbergen straight in after Courtney.
They can't afford to leave him out because he'd just get absolutely sacrificed.
Right there. Right there. Okay. Let's go, go, go.
Guys, Ford Performance Racing just saying, unfortunately, driver error for Richo. No problem with the car. He just went off.
All right. We'll wait to see what type of impact it was, Barretts. This is Jason Richards. Okay, Zinger replay, looking back towards turn 11.
That's almost a carbon copy of what we saw in the warm-up.
So no impact, you'd say. That's a pity. He was right up there, just running along. Typically, Richards.
Gee, didn't that play well for the leaders? They had the right track position, and Richo's back in now to get that gravel out of the front of the car and change the tyre set and get on with it. But they were able to get Whincup and Winterbottom in, process them, take on fuel for both of them.
Sending Panda back out, boys. They've rectified that, so the extended test run continues for them. And I'm not sure whether you cleared it up, Neil. It was pretty frantic down here. Just for Mark Scaife, they couldn't seem to sense a problem. They've put new tyres on the front and sent him back out.
Yeah, I did pick up that they had flat spotted one of the tyres, at least on that car. I think they were probably using it as a precaution to make sure something wasn't going to...
Exit clear. Come back in. It's a safety car, so we'll do the fuel. So pit now. We're just going to do that part of the CPS.
Even though Matt Nilsson knows that they're completely competitively out of sequence, if they don't do the compulsory fuel within the window, then he can still be black flagged and pulled off the racetrack, and that closes on lap 55, and we're on lap 44. So they're going to get that done, and then they'll fiddle with the car and see whether they can make a better mousetrap for later on.
Guys, each week the FPR boys write something on the team's tyres. On Stephen Richards' tyres this week, they've written it's a fine line between pleasure and pain. I reckon Richo might know that now.
Yep. Well, Mark Winterbottom's still up there. He takes the fight to Jamie Whincup off the restart. So it's Whincup leading us away. Winterbottom second. Courtney is third. Correction, Lowndes is now third. Courtney fourth. Lee Holdsworth is fifth.
Just another thing to add to car one, they were investigating the incident between Garth Tander and Stephen Johnson, and subsequent to that, Garth Tander is now going to additionally have to serve a pit lane drive-through penalty for turning Stephen around at turn 9. So he's been in the pit lane, back in the garage, fixed the front suspension problem, gone back out. They've got to do a pit lane drive-through, and they're going to bring it back in and do fuel. So a few things to manage for them there.
A couple of guys to watch. Up inside the top 10, Todd Kelly will come through turn 8 shortly. There he goes, in the black Jack Daniels racer. He's up to inside for Lowndes.
James is going to be the beneficiary. Courtney just grabs 2 easy spots there.
Winterbottom had nowhere to go.
Lowndes came down the dirty side of the road and was squeezed up on the curb. There was no grip there, and their speed at the apex was walking pace. They ran wide. Courtney and Holdsworth just bowled on through.
We saw it all on TV, mate. Just head down. There's still 33 laps to go. Long way to go.
Pretty good point. And that has unleashed James Courtney on Jamie Whincup now. Every time I blink, the order changes. It's Whincup, Courtney and Holdsworth. Lowndes is fourth. Winterbottom is fifth. And Cam McConville, the WOW Racing Team BOC car, sixth.
Well, there it is again in replay. And you could see that Craig eventually had to climb the curb on the right-hand side. Winterbottom could see him all the way, and he just kept opening the steering. Look at this, the dust and debris being swirled up from these cars because they're way off the race line. And in the end, they're at walking pace, completely off the track on the other side. So Winterbottom really did the right thing there, because if he turned in, he was going to have an accident. He just had to open the steering and let the space open up. Otherwise, there was going to be a problem.
And there's a problem right there for Andrew Thompson.
Ford Performance Racing up in arms, Neil, as you'd probably imagine. Team boss Tim Edwards is straight on the land. He sent a note up to the stewards.
Yeah, and Mark Scaife now into the pits too was complaining on the radio that it's turning left differently than it does right. He was after some steering trace data to be put into the car. They've parked it for the minute, boys. And Garth Tanner's just come through for a drive-through. I'll try and get onto that too.
Van Gisbergen and Murphy, a couple of Kiwis at it here on the run to turn 1, and you can't really do turn 1 side by side, so Greg prevails. Okay.
Take a breath.
Take a breath. What does it all mean in the universe? Windcup's got good car pace. Courtney has come arrowing through. He's only 3 seconds adrift. And Holdsworth continues to be the leading Holden, day 2 of that scenario.
Still 30-odd laps to go, though, in race 2 of the Clipsal 500. Remember, first across the line this afternoon is crowned the Clipsal champion. With 30 laps to go of the Clipsal 500 race 2, we've got a big problem on the main straight for Andrew Thompson. Paul Wheel Racing car number 50. He's not facing the right way, and he's had some major drama where he's found the side wall. This is the incident. You'll see here that Jason Bright and Andrew Jones are having their own little battle around turn 14. Right here, Thompson loses it, and Jason Richards in the Sprint Gas car number 3 had nowhere to go but straight into the rear corner of him.
And the reason this happened is that Andrew Jones got both pedals in the car. That is, when he put his foot on the brake, he also got a tiny percentage of throttle. So he had what we call 2 turning and 2 burning. The rear wheels were driving the car, the front 2 were locked up a bit, and he's running wide. Jason Bright ends up being the berm on the outside. And Andrew Thompson sort of did that on his own, really. And because he had to put more right-hand steering lock on, when he's picked the throttle up, it's just looped around. Here he is coming back into the lane, and Jason Richards was the innocent bystander.
Good time for us to take a look at what's happened so far since the start of this race. Remember, Jamie Whincup started on pole position, but Mark Winterbottom looped around him. A brilliant start from Stephen Richards as well. Russell Ingall was trying to push his way through their midfield. In fact, Russell Ingall would get himself parked on the left-hand side of the main straight not too far later on. He was forced out on lap 7, that was. Rick Kelly down at turn 9. Lock up, and had to use the exit runoff. This is James Courtney and Greg Murphy. They'll be talking about this one guaranteed. Murph was furious about it. Some big impact. It continued further down here. Courtney has really been in the picture. Shane Price in car 11 dumped a whole heap of oil. That forced a restart. Jamie Whincup was attacking at the rear of Mark Winterbottom for quite a few laps, and in the end, Winterbottom played the sensible one, just pulled over because he knew he was coming. Here's a view of James Courtney around turn 9 with Mark Scaife. And also, another incident down at turn 9 for Jason Richards, the Sprint Gas car number 3, forced to flick it out of there. So you can see where most of the action's taking place. Right here, Tander and Johnson, whack, whack, whack. Tander ended up suffering exactly the same problem, they think, as yesterday. Straight ahead at turn 7, he was forced to come in, and so too was his teammate Mark Scaife. So the Toll Holden Racing team are now out there effectively just having test runs. Stephen Richards went off down at turn 11. An inside move, aggressive one from Craig Lowndes, didn't do anyone any favours except for James Courtney. And he pushed through. That gave Courtney second position. Mark Winterbottom, a bit of an innocent victim there because he was left with no room to go, but to clear out. So that brings us to this stage. 29 laps to go, full course, yellow. Andrew Thompson's car number 50 has been put on the back of the truck. When we get a restart, Jamie Whincup will be holding off James Courtney. How's that for a bit of V8 Supercar action? Off we go again. Safety car's out of it. Jamie Whincup has control of the race from James Courtney. You'll see car 111, the Glenford's car, right there. The blue and pink livery of Fabian Coulthard. There's a little bit of toing and froing over the radios about this car that we need to confirm. Well, you can see it. His rear windscreen's shattered. And Dick Johnson Racing has been making the point clear that it's flying debris out the back, therefore onto car 17, Stephen Johnson.
Race controller having a look at that now, and no doubt they'll pull it off the road. That's a shame. That's a weird thing too. How that's come about.
He's been
look at this,
pretty clean, hasn't he?
There's a little ruling that has been invoked this weekend about cars approaching turn 8. Oh, and Lowndes again on the dirt on the inside. Come back to that yarn. He's locked the rear brakes. And this time it's Holdsworth out in the weeds. He's going to drop a heap of spots.
And what about how close that was for Mark Winterbottom to get the reverse back? Winterbottom almost cashed in on that move. Remember the last time it happened? Winterbottom was stuck.
Restarts are always a frantic time.
Rick Kelly's dropped back. He went off, I believe, at turn 9. Bit of a drag race for Rick. Up the main straight with Shane Van Gisbergen. This will be interesting. Kelly wins that battle. So that's position 9 now for Rick Kelly.
And black flag for car 1 remains outstanding for the driving infringement on Stephen Johnson early in the race. So that is the black flag for Garth Tander. And race controller just calling for that to be done again.
Boys are scampering down a pit lane to try and get us an answer on what happened to Fabian Coulthard, who's been having a terrific run. And I can't remember any incident that he's really been involved in.
McConville's, Courtney may have a puncture here, folks. So we'll have a look at this. James Courtney might have a puncture. But have a look at the run that Cam McConville's having in the WOW Racing hold. He's flying.
Okay on TV, there's still air in the tyre.
So Stone Brothers having a long, hard look at what's going on with the Stegbar entry for James Courtney. Sometimes cars after a restart can feel like they've got a flat tyre because they lose a little bit of pressure and they get pick up on the tyre. Can feel unstable, so Courtney was alarmed for some reason. They're saying, push on, mate.
Okay, mate, we got you on TV. The tyres look okay at the moment.
His last lap was a 1:24.3, about a second slower than Jamie Whincup.
Dave Stewart, Wes McDougall there, senior engineers at Stone Brothers Racing.
Paul Krupchak, boys, thinks Fabian Coulthard's got a tap right square in the middle of the boot, and as it's come up off its hinges, the edges of the boot lid have actually punctured the back window.
And they may leave it out there, but I don't think so. But, that incident at turn 14 where Andrew Thompson ended up round the wrong way and against the wall has been reviewed and no breach of the rules has been found. Courtney's still got pace here. I think it would have just felt strange after the restart. It's quite a common occurrence once you've lost a little bit of temperature and pressure, because as the tyres cool, the pressure drops again. The car can feel really ordinary for a half lap or lap, particularly if you've got the little bullets of rubber that it's picked up off the edge of the road. It can actually make the car feel like it's got no grip at all.
The Stone Brothers boys have just spotted the fact that that left front tyre of James Courtney's is leaking air. They want to bring him in, change both front tyres over.
Oh, there you go. He was the only guy in the top 7 over that last lap, Barrett's, to do a 1:24. It's good news for Jamie Whincup. I mean, he's 1.8 seconds ahead.
There's no live tyre pressure telemetry, so they don't know that. So they don't know any more than we do. They're just looking and guessing. I reckon they've given James the option. It's up to him. If he feels it's dangerous, obviously you don't want to press on and have an accident. But at the moment, see, his sector split then was only 1/10 slower than Jamie Whincup's. unless he's got a flat spot, which is unsettling him.
Lowndes again.
In Formula One, for example, they do monitor tyre pressure. Indy Racing League, they do monitor tyre pressure. But very expensive systems required to do that. We don't have it in V8 Supercar.
See if he's going to come in this time around, or will he stay out? Did they give him the option, or was it a direction? He's going to keep punching.
We can see the tyre on TV, James. The tyre looks okay. I think it's the left front of our bodywork rubbing on the wheel.
Where's McDougall?
I have no idea what he said.
And he can't hear a word. It's very difficult to listen to sentences in a race car. All you get are the key messages. You'll hear okay, or you'll hear pit, or you'll hear box, which is sometimes what they say. Conversations rarely work in the race car.
He's back into the 23s. That's the good news for James. But the bad news is that Jamie Whincup has... We've now got 20 laps to go of race 2 of the Clipsal 500. Still full course yellow under safety car conditions.
James Courtney, you're back in the garage. First things first, you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. No dramas.
Second of all, freedom of speech rules are in place. Feel free to speak.
Yeah, it's just disappointing Craig did that. He's been running into the back guys into there all day today when I was driving around behind him. He did it to Winterbottom and then to Holsworth, and then he did it to me, and then he got up beside me on the exit, and then he just thought he could turn down into me. I don't know if he thought he was outside, and he just turned down into me, and we hit, and then we both ended up going out.
You're likely to go down and have a chat, or what's the story?
I don't know. I'm sure Roland's going to be unhappy with him, so see what happens.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I just noticed there too on that replay, the big concrete block showed you the impact. It moved it.
You know, this is this part of a series of things that have happened this weekend. I'm not going to lay the blame at any one driver's feet. I'm going to lay the blame at the fact that the guidelines for what's right and wrong in what's an acceptable pass at the moment are too vague. And that's the reason why the Thursday pre-season briefing turned into a hot air gap fest that wasted everybody's time.
So what are we left with? Jamie Whincup leading from Cameron McConville.
Craig Lowndes back here in pit lane. Craig, just tell us about what happened out there.
Yeah, not good standing here talking to you. It's a bit of a shame. The car was working really, really well for us today, and I think Jamie's out there still leading the race, so that's a good thing for us. But, yeah, had a bad start, and I was sort of making up positions as the race went on. And, you know, those last couple of restarts, we had a really good car, and I was attacking quite sort of hard to try and make up some time. It's, you know, it looks like Courtney was struggling with Riz. I don't know what was going on because he was sort of locking up tyres sort of here and there. We sort of had a run down into the hairpin. He ran a bit wide. I got a good run up the inside of him. Look, I've got to have a good look at the incident because
Something there we need to look at?
Well, it's always difficult on a street circuit. You've got no room for error. So when you have contact with other cars, you're going to end up in the wall. So that's probably a given for a street circuit like this. On a normal circuit, probably, if that incident had happened, we both would have probably spun off the track, got going again, and poor old Frosty wouldn't have got caught up in it. So it's just hard with this nature of circuit.
Lindsay, hard way to end the day for a brand new car.
Yeah, I suppose it's been run in.
That's heartbreaking, mate.
Well, it is. It's something that's, you know, for the boys, done a lot of work over Christmas to get the cars up and running. And, you know, this is the best preparation leading to a season we've had. And last year we had a bad Adelaide with some sort of niggling problems. You know, yesterday we had a few little things. But as I said, today, you know, both cars, you know, were running very strong. And, you know, we had a bad start. That was my problem. But we were working our way back.
All right, Lindsay. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you in one piece. You are all okay?
Yeah, fine. I'm ready to go again. Can we start again tomorrow?
Yeah, good idea. Thanks, mate.
Thanks.
I think you'd be able to start. I don't know about your car right now because it's a little bit of a mess, but mess is the operative word, both on the track and what's been left behind. So, here's how it stands. Whincup, McConville, Holdsworth, 1, 2 and 3. Todd Kelly, Fabian Coulthard, Stephen Johnson, Rick Kelly, Van Gisbergen, Bright and Jason Richards are our top 10. Restart. Off we go. 18 laps to go. Stephen Johnson has decided I will take over from Fabian Coulthard straight away. So Johnson goes from 6th to 5th in the blink of an eye. So the questions are, what has Whincup got at the front? What has Cameron McConville, who's putting in a stellar performance for his new team in his new car, got to battle him? And Lee Holdsworth, who's been one of the real achievers this weekend, is in third. A little bit wide here for Van Gisbergen. Jason Bright slots through. 4 wide coming out of turn 4. Look at that. Van Gisbergen, Bright, Fabian Coulthard. Unbelievable. And Greg Murphy in there. Now 3 wide down to turn 9. Oh, you get nervous.
Quite a few of them did a great job then of getting through turn 8 side by side. Jason Bright was up on the outside and managed to hold his ground.
Geez, Murph has really bought into that argument big time. There's a slut by Stephen Richards.
And when Stephen was in the pit lane before, they took the opportunity to try and fix his radio coupling.
So Greg Murphy went from 11th to 9th. Van Gisbergen drops down to 7th, and Rick Kelly is now in front of Van Gisbergen behind Stephen Johnson.
I thought there may have been some intervention with the glass situation on the back of Fabian's car, but we haven't heard anything further to that.
I tell you what, mate, they're crawling all over him. Look at him. Straight away off the restart, Stephen Johnson lined him up, and look at car 111, Fabian Coulthard. He just continues to drift down. He's now down to about 15th or 16th or more.
He's been bundled. He was as high as 5th, Fabian Coulthard.
I reckon he's down about 18th now.
I think I heard something about brakes. That was about all I picked up out of that.
So Stephen Richards goes through. That's the all-black car of Team Kiwis, Kane Scott, Tony D'Alberto, Marcus Marshall. So 3 full-time newcomers. Then Fabian Coulthard has clearly got problems with the Glenford's Racing entry. Andrew Jones on Michael Caruso.
Just spoke to Kurt down here at the stewards, guys in pit lane. Mind you, Coulthard's car's coming in right now, but they're saying, no, it's fine, it's eligible to run. Looks like they're parking it though, boys. I'll run up there and check what's going on. There's also heated arguments here, words, with Adrian Burgess from Dick Johnson Racing saying get onto it to Schenken. I'm going to try and find out what the bottom of this is. He was about to storm up to race control and get some kind of car excluded. Hang on.
They're saying that Stephen Johnson was overlapping on the restart, and that's why they've given him a pit lane drive-through penalty. Clearly, Adrian doesn't agree with it at the moment. It's a judge of fact issue, unfortunately. It's one of those that you can't fight. And the brakes are jammed on Fabian's car, and it's cooked the brakes, I think. And so the pedal's down on the floor, but the brakes are activated. So something weird going on in the brake system on the car. I'm surprised, really, given that there was glass coming out the back of that car, and other competitors were complaining about it, that it's still okay to run, but that's the ruling. The boys have had to think about it on the pit wall as Kurt Suzuki and Frank Adamson, Steve Brower down there, they know what they're looking at.
Remember to have a drink. Remember to have a drink.
What about the turnaround for Cameron McConville? Coming into this weekend, he'd only finished the Sunday race here at Clipsal twice out of 8 attempts. Now he's lined up with 15 laps to go to put his new team with their new manufacturer and new sponsors on the podium.
He's going punch for punch with Whincup. Matty Crawford, who was the engineer for Todd Kelly at the Holden Racing team in the last few years, said to me in the garages at Brad Jones Racing this morning, these guys are a whisker away. He said it's just a whisker is all they need to get the adjustments right on this car, and they'll be a factor. Well, that was absolutely spot on. And when you race at the front and you're clear of some of the crazy stuff, it's amazing how you can pick up a bit of pace. And Cam is absolutely trading identical times with Jamie Whincup.
Adrian Burgess is down here from Dick Johnson Racing talking to the stewards.
Obvious problem with the car, and they don't believe that it's a valid excuse for the overlap.
Just look at Channel 7's coverage. It's pretty obvious. He's just retired. He pulled out of the way. Yeah. What are we meant to do? We're not meant to stop behind him and punch him off, are we?
No, the stewards have looked at the footage, they've reviewed it, and that's their call.
Adrian, tell me, what was the initial incident you were worried about?
Sorry, mate.
The initial incident you're worried about?
We just got to drive through. It's not our fault. Coulthard's got an obvious problem. We're trying to get the decision changed. They won't change it.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I can know exactly what's happening here. Fabian's car was going slow, and so Stephen felt compelled to get on with it. And if another car is going slow and the driver has indicated, you can pass him. But if Fabian was busy on the radio and had other problems, he won't have waved Stephen by. So they've pinged Johnson for an overlap, overlapping a disabled car.
At the restart.
At the restart. That's right. The reason why Adrian's on fire. And that was Kurt Suzuki from V8 Supercars saying, mate, I'm sorry, the stewards have looked at it and that's the ruling. Unfortunately, Kurt's the messenger.
And that's just going to cool.
That's a pretty tough call. I don't think they fully grasp what's happened there. That's a bad call.
I was waiting for the comeback there from Stephen Johnson.
The problem is they've taken it at face value. They've looked out the window and gone, well, there's an overlap. They're not aware of the fact that the other cars had a problem.
Well, Stephen Johnson was top 5.
It's an unfortunate bad call, and it has taken him out of the day.
The silence in pit lane says it all for the Jim Beam Racing crew and car 17. Jamie Whincup has the race lead with 13 laps to go. It's a 1.16 second difference between Jamie Whincup and Cameron McConville. As always, at the completion of this round, jump onto bigpondsport.com and you'll get a full download of everything that's happened. Believe me, you'll be there for a while because a lot has happened. So Jamie Whincup, 10 laps to go. Stephen Johnson has served his drive-through penalty that Dick Johnson Racing are clearly unhappy about. Whincup here is on track to have 300 championship points if he can hold off this man, Cam McConville, who's had now 112 starts in the V8 Supercar Championship. He's had only one race win in his career, and that was 4 years ago at Winton. If he can make up a second and a bit, wouldn't that be some kind of start?
Very impressive lap speed. 1:22.9 for Whincup. A little bit slower that time for McConville, 23.4, but he has been able to run with him in the recent past. 23.3 for Lee Holdsworth, 23.4 for Todd Kelly. And there's Todd in the background in the Jack Daniels Holden 4th. Shane Van Gisbergen is 5th. Rick Kelly, Greg Murphy, who's had a tough day and 5 pit stops, is in the top 10 in 7th. Oh, someone had a big moment then.
Sounded nasty, didn't it?
Something weird occurred then. There was definitely something odd in the background.
A lot of weird has occurred today.
Someone's got a tyre flying apart. Problem at turn 8, is it? Yes. Yeah. Which car?
There you go, D'Alberto. Broadcast Racing, front left. He's getting around there with no rubber on that.
They may have to deploy the safety car. They will.
Keep to the right, pit lane exit there. Just pull up to a halt. Make sure
the Zinger replay shows it fling off on the entry to turn 8.
He probably had some prior warning, thankfully.
And that's dangerous. He's done a good job to save it.
Whincup versus McConville, Holdsworth, Kelly. They're all in there. How's your nerves? It's going to be a mad dash to the finish. Off they go again with 7 laps remaining now, and there has been a change. Jamie Whincup is still the leader, but Lee Holdsworth is now second. Cam McConville has pushed back to third. Still not sure where that happened. Sort of snuck up on us. Get the boys to try and get the word from either Gary Rogers Motorsport or Brad Jones Racing, but the order is this: Whincup, Holdsworth, McConville, Todd Kelly there, Shane Van Gisbergen, Rick Kelly, Greg Murphy and Jason Richards, 7th and 8th for Sprint Gas Racing. Jason Bright, 9th. Michael Caruso in car 34, the other GRM entry, is top 10. Sorry, mate.
Sorry, Matty. Just been down to BOC, mate. Spoke to Brad Jones. The reason for that, they think Cam McConville was out-braked on the straight out of turn 8 just before the safety car came out.
Okay. It'll be something to do with what we heard in the background before, and there was a glimpse, I reckon, of the Team BOC car to our racing car in an awkward spot. So it was up on the western end of the circuit there, and we heard something odd. We had the discussion about something weird occurring. I reckon that's what's gone on there.
There's some rock solid performances here. Todd Kelly's one of them. Van Gisbergen's certainly the other. Rick Kelly. Stephen Johnson is back up to 10th. So he's gained a spot at the expense of Michael Caruso. So we're on lap 72. Whincup has been holding them at bay.
Happy with your brake bias and bars.
At times while all hell has broken loose on the streets around him. Don't you reckon Gary Rogers will be pleased beyond belief with the performance of Lee Holdsworth this weekend? Even more so if he can get one more position.
Someone's in the fence. There's a problem at turn 8. Someone's in the fence, and it is Paul Dumbrell.
So he's gone in at 8. He's ended up basically halfway between turn 8 and 9.
Safety car boards and flag, safety car boards and flag. We have a car off, exit of turn 8, car off, exit of turn 8, left-hand side. Just that.
Obviously a very dangerous position there at the exit of the sweeper. So these guys will have to back right off by the time they get around there. Another safety car, can you believe it? The 7th of the day. The first came out on lap 4, and it's been pretty consistently in control. This is Paul Dumbrell, the Autobahn. Oh dear, ouch. Oh man, that's scary.
That happened right in front of Mark Scaife, who was straight on the radio to explain what happened. Looked like something failed in the front of that car before he got there. Yep. Considering the issues they've had in the sister operation, I wonder whether something's broken.
I think that first shot that we saw highlighted it better.
It didn't look anything like a normal approach.
Yep. So you can see the smoke coming out of the front right. My initial thought, Neil, was that something gave way on the left on the way.
This is the shot.
There you go. Bang on the front left there.
Somebody's let go before they got there.
So Paul Dumbrell is out of the car. That's a good sign, especially at that part of the circuit. Jamie Whincup leads the race, but the WPS Chrysler safety car has control. Feel like a 2-lap dash?
I'm up for it.
Here it comes. You're a brave man. The 7th restart. 2 laps to go of the Clipsal 500. Jamie Whincup is our race leader. Lee Holdsworth is 2nd. Cameron McConville is 3rd. Todd Kelly, car number 7, 4th. Shane Van Gisbergen, the 18-year-old Kiwi, right up there inside the top 5 for the first time in his young career. Rick Kelly wants a piece of it. Greg Murphy, Jason Richards. But they've all got to round up one man who has been rock solid, and that is Jamie Whincup. The winner of race 1 has not been upset at all by the chops and changes and crashes and safety cars and everything they've thrown at him. This Team Vodafone car has been fast. This 25-year-old driver has been very mature.
He has done a brilliant job this weekend. Cameron McConville's got pressure from Todd Kelly. These guys are fighting for the Clipsal 500 podium.
That's right, first across the line is the Clipsal 500 champion, regardless of points. It just so happens that the man at the front has all the points at the moment. He's got one more lap.
Make sure you nail turn 8. Make sure you nail turn 8.
That's the key, says marked up. Turn 8, 3.2 kilometres to go.
They're encouraging Todd Kelly at the moment to try and do something special into turn 9. Looks like Whincup's got enough of a break here. 3/4 of a second or near enough over the line last time. Oh, a little moment there for Todd. The car just skipped wide on him as he tried to turn it in at turn 6. Van Gisbergen ready to pounce.
This is it, fastest point of the circuit. The Dunlop sweeper. Millimetres in it. Now turn 9, the one that Neil mentioned. It's clean for the man at the front. He controls the Team Vodafone 888 Falcon beautifully. It's been such a performance from Jamie Whincup. A double whammy to start the season. In fact, that is the perfect start. Couldn't have been any better.
Legend, great drive all weekend.
Fantastic drive, Jamie Whincup. Fantastic campaign, Team Vodafone 888 Race Engineering. And Lee Holdsworth, 2nd in the Clipsal 500, and Cam McConville for Wow Racing, 3rd in the Clipsal 500. What a tremendous performance it is for that rejuvenated team. They have gone through the toughest of times at Brad Jones Racing.
Yeah, great work, mate.
Well, if race 1 was the one with the lot, we just threw a few extras on top for this one as Holdsworth pulls up alongside Whincup. 2 of the new generation drivers. Mutual respect. And I sensed a little bit of disbelief almost in Jamie Whincup's voice. Oh my God. The enormity of what he's just done has hit him. From pole through the fight that was race 1 to this one, a little bit of a shoddy start again, and everything that fell around him, that fell apart around him, everything that happened, he held on. Likewise for Lee Holdsworth and for Cameron McConville. In fact, most of the guys still in the top 10.
And a new lap record.
So, Jamie, it's just like yesterday, mate. You'll be straight into the pit.
And there's your Clipsal champion for 2008, Jamie Whincup. Lee Holdsworth and Cam McConville. That lap record that you mentioned was a 1:22.3564, so that is now in the books. How's about the effort from Todd Kelly and Shane van Gisbergen in particular? 18 years of age, his best ever V8 Supercar race finish, and that's something to take back to your new bosses at Stone Brothers. Rick Kelly fought hard, so too did the Sprint Gas Racing Kiwi combination of Murphy and Jason Richards. You've got to feel sorry for Stephen Johnson, who finishes 9th. Michael Caruso, in his first full-time start for Gary Rogers Motorsport, didn't finish race 1, but he's just outside the top 10 for 2. And down we go to the DNFs that include Paul Dumbrell, Courtney, Lowndes, Winterbottom. There's some names. Thompson, Price, Davison, and the first victim of the day was Russell Ingall. That was good work. Very solid indeed. In the end, they just couldn't match his race pace. And a cool head kept it all together. Get ready for a deep breath when you take a look at the highlights, because there's plenty of them. The Zinger replay down at turn 9 was, well, just the precursor to what happened a little bit later on. Bump and grind between Andrew Jones here and Jason Bright, but really Andrew Thompson was the one lost a race, but also Mark Winterbottom, an innocent bystander, caught with nowhere to go, but straight into car. Big impact into their concrete wall, and James Courtney was the one. He got out okay. The cars, however, a different story. Driving standards, the big issue out of that one. This was the restart that effectively cost a top 5 performance for Stephen Johnson. Smack bang in the middle of the screen, they ruled that he was overlapping on Fabian Coulthard. More to come on that one. Tony D'Alberto, his wheel actually cut straight in half. It's no wonder he had no rubber going into turn 8. Paul Dumbrell had something go on him into turn 8 as well. And that left it as a dash to the finish where they just couldn't catch this man. Gee, he's impressive at the moment, carrying what he did off in 2007 into 2008. Last grab of the gears, pushes it up, and by that stage, he was hooting and hollering back to the team. So 300 championship points. The winner gets 150 per race in a 2-race round. So he got the lot, Jamie Whincup. Look at the bank for Lee Holdsworth, 258. And Rick Kelly finishes round 1 3rd on points overall. Let's go up to the podium. Here's Mark Beretta.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, an amazing 10th Clipsal 500. A record crowd today, 91,700 at the Adelaide Street Circuit. For a 4-day record crowd of 291,000. What a weekend. In 3rd place, would you please welcome to the podium from Team BOC, Cameron McConville. Cam, great to see you. Something has clicked. It's a nice way to start the year.
Oh, mate, I can't believe it, to be honest. Pretty emotional, but thanks to BOC and WOW, our fantastic new sponsors. What a great way to start the year. Thank you.
Cam, can you put your finger on it? What's clicked?
Oh, good team, a good car, and I haven't forgotten how to drive, but look, bit of strategy, everything. You know, all the boxes are ticked this year, so it'd be nice to be up here a bit more often.
We look forward to seeing you up here, Cam. Please take your spot on the podium. Cameron McConville, 3rd place. And I'd ask Mr. Roger Cook, the chairman of the South Australian Motorsports Board, to make the presentation to Cameron McConville. In 2nd place, runner-up, the Clipsal 500 for Gary Rogers Motorsport. Ladies and gentlemen, Lee Holdsworth. Please come and have a chat. Lee, congratulations. I know the boss has put plenty of pressure on you, but you've delivered once again. Well done.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mark. Geez, that was the hardest race of my life. I had about half distance. I thought I'd be ready to pull in, but I just had to keep on pushing, and I got nothing left. But all credit to Jamie. What a great drive. And but my boys, the Holden guys, you know, GRM, Valvoline and Cummins, such a brilliant effort, boys, and mate, this will be another one to remember.
Now, Lee, I know we talked down on the grid, you were worried about your start, but it was beautiful today.
Well, it was probably one of my best, but it still wasn't good. We're going to have to do something about that, but we'll work on that next time.
All right, mate, get up there and enjoy second spot. Well done, Lee Holdsworth. And making the presentation, the Honourable Kevin Foley MP, Deputy Premier of South Australia. Would you please congratulate the Clipsal 500 champion for 2008 from Team Vodafone, Jamie Whincup. Jamie, congratulations. This has got to feel pretty special.
Amazing performance, fellas. Quickest in practice, quali, both races. What more could we ask for? Unbelievable dedication over the break to get two cars as quick as they are, and just excited about the whole year now.
Now, Lee was just telling us how tough a race that was, but you had to fight it from out in front there. How was it for you?
Yeah, well, I was fighting different people all the time. Courtney was showing good speed, Frosty early, and then Cameron and Lee at the end. So I was getting pushed the whole way. Mate, the car, Mark Dutton, my engineer, he's improved the car over the night, and it's an absolute rocket today.
Jamie, you couldn't get a better start to the season. On we go for 2008.
Bring on 2008. We missed out last year, but this year we're back bigger and better.
Jamie Whincup, congratulations. To make the presentation to first place, the Honourable Mike Rann MP, Premier of South Australia. And to present the winners' wreaths as well, Eric Schultz, the Executive General Manager of our major sponsor, Clipsal. And folks, would you please congratulate Jamie Whincup, Lee Holdsworth and Cameron McConville.
Well, you want to hope that Jamie Whincup's got a pretty big mantelpiece, because he got a trophy yesterday and the big one today. And there's a lot of reasons on that podium to celebrate for all three men. Obviously for Jamie, but also for Lee Holdsworth, who comes off the back of his best year and starts this one nice and well, and so too for Cameron McConville. Round 2 is at Eastern Creek, March 7 through to 9. And you'll see that right here, 4:30 Australian Eastern Time on the Saturday for race 1, and then Sunday, of course, for race 2. So that's our first sprint round of 2008. Don't forget, footy's coming your way on 7. The Bombers versus the Saints. That's on Friday night. There's the times. Please check your local guides. That's from the Telstra Dome. The NAB Cup semi-final. And the Fujitsu Series, round 1, you'll see next Saturday right here at 1:30 p.m. Quick thoughts on that one, Neil Crompton? There's quite a lot to talk about, isn't there?
Well, we should start with the positives. Great performance by Jamie Whincup, Lee Holdsworth and Cam McConville. Refreshing to see that podium. A lot of discussion to take place amongst the group about driving standards.
All right, well, we got everything we wanted and a little bit more, but Jamie Whincup got the trophy, the Clipsal 500. On behalf of Neil Crompton, all of our crew, hope you enjoyed round 1 of the V8 Supercars. See you next time.